السلام على رسول الله وعلى آله وصحبه ومن والاه رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقه قولي نستغفر الله ربنا من كل ذنب ونتوب إليك ربنا زدنا علما اللهم يسر ولا تعسر وأتمم بالخير يا فتاح يا فتاح يا فتاح اللهم إنا نعوذ بك من البرص والجنون والجذام ومن سيء الأسقام اللهم فقهنا في الدين اللهم صل وسلم على نبينا محمد آمين رب العالمين. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. All right. Welcome back to another exciting class of Dawrah-e-Quran. I hope you guys are all doing well. Well, guess what? We are halfway through the month of Ramadan. So, yes, it's faster than the speed of light, for sure. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give us barakah and the rest of the month, inshallah, and allow us to witness Laylatul Qadr. Okay, let's begin, inshallah. Ayat number 41, Surah al-Shu'ara. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم كذب ثمود المرسلين إذ قال لهم أخوهم صالح ألا تتقون إني لكم رسول أمين فاتقوا الله وأطيعون وما أسألكم عليه من أجر إن أجري إلا على رب العالمين رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقهوا قولي كذب ثمود المرسلين. Thamud disbelieved in the messengers. إذ قال لهم أخوهم صالح ألا تتقون. When their brother Salih alayhi salam told them, ألا تتقون, will you not fear Allah? إني لكم رسول أمين. Indeed, I am a trustworthy messenger to all of you. فاتقوا الله وأطيعون. So beware of Allah and obey me. وما أسألكم عليه من أجر. I don't ask you to pay me anything. إن أجري إلا على رب العالمين. My reward is with Allah, the Lord of all beings. أتتركون فيما هاهنا آمنين. Do you think that you'll be left secure in this world forever? أتتركون فيما هاهنا آمنين. But في جنات وعيون, in the midst of your gardens and springs, وزروع ونخل طلعها هضيم, and in the cornfields and in the date palms, of which the stem of slim stem. You think you'll be left in these luxuries forever? وَتَنْحِتُونَ مِنَ الْجِبَالِ بُيُوتًا فَارِهِينَ. And you carve out the mountains houses skillfully just to show off. فَاتَّقُوا اللَّهَ وَأَطِيعُونَ. Beware of Allah and obey me. وَلَا تُطِيعُوا أَمْرَ الْمُسْرِفِينَ. And do not follow the dictate of the transgressors, the command of the wrongdoers. So we see here that when the leaders disobey Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, you should not follow them. الَّذِينَ يُفْسِدُونَ فِي الْأَرْضِ وَلَا يُصْلِحُونَ. Those who cause mischief in the land and do not fix anything, do not make any amendments. وَقَالُوا إِنَّمَا أَنْتَ مِنَ الْمُسَحَّرِينَ. They responded to Salih alayhi salam, indeed you are someone who's mad and insane. وَمَا أَنْتَ إِلَّا بَشَرٌ مِثْلُنَا. You are a human being just like us. فَأْتِ بِآيَةٍ إِن كُنْتَ مِنَ الصَّادِقِينَ. Why don't you bring a sign if you're truthful? Show us a sign. إِن كُنْتَ مِنَ الصَّادِقِينَ. Bring that punishment, what you're talking about. قال هذه ناقة لها شرب ولكم شرب يوم معلوم. He said, this is a she-camel, and here is the drinking place of its. ولكم شرب يوم معلوم. It has its drinking place and time, and you will have your time to drink on specified days. ولا تمسوها بسوء فيأخذكم عذاب يوم عظيم. And do not touch her with an offense. Do not try to harm this she-camel. If you do that, a painful punishment will come on you. فعقروها. And they hamstrung her. فأصبحوا نادمين. And they became among the remorseful, because what follows what a punishment. فأخذهم العذاب. The punishment seized them. إن في ذلك لآية. Verily in that is a miraculous sign for you. وما كان أكثرهم مؤمنين. But most people do not believe. وإن ربك لهو العزيز الرحيم. Verily your Lord is Almighty, has the power to punish the disbelievers and is merciful towards the believers. كذبت قوم لوط المرسلين. Even the nation of Lut alayhi salam denied the messengers. إذ قال لهم أخوهم لوط ألا تتقون. When their brother Lut alayhi salam told them, ألا تتقون, will you not fear Allah? إني لكم رسول أمين. Verily I am a trustworthy messenger to you. فاتقوا الله وأطيعون. Beware of Allah and obey me. وما أسألكم عليه من أجر. I don't want you to pay me anything. In ajriya illa ala rabbil alameen. My reward is with the Lord of all beings. أَتَأْتُونَ الذُّكْرَانَ مِنَ الْعَالَمِينَ. Do you approach the males amongst the creation? وَتَذَرُونَ مَا خَلَقَ لَكُمْ رَبُّكُمْ مِنْ أَزْوَاجِكُمْ. And you leave aside that which Allah has made for you, your spouses, your female counterparts that Allah has created just for you. بَلْ أَنْتُمْ قَوْمٌ عَادُونَ. Rather, you're people who exceed all boundaries. The people who support homosexuality and all that. Allah subhanahu says that the creation has been made in such a way that a female is a perfect fit for the male and male is a perfect fit for the female, and that's how Allah subhanahu has made for each other, not for the same gender. قالوا لئن لم تنتهي يا لوط. So they said, "Oh Lut, if you don't stop what you're doing, your deen or whatever you're preaching, لتكونن من المخرجين, you're going to be among those who are driven out. We'll kick you out of here." قال إني لعملكم من القالين. He said, "Verily, I am the one. I hate the deeds that you are performing. رَبِّ نَجِّنِي وَأَهْلِي مِمَّا يَعْمَلُونَ. My Lord, save me and my family from whatever these people are doing. فَنَجَّيْنَاهُ وَأَهْلَهُ أَجْمَعِينَ. And so we saved him and his family, all of them together. إِلَّا عَجُوزًا فِي الْغَابِرِينَ. Except for the old woman, this was the wife of Lut alayhi salam, she will be among those who will be left behind. ثُمَّ دَمَّرْنَا الْآخَرِينَ. And then we annihilated, destroyed all the others. وَأَمْطَرْنَا عَلَيْهِمْ مَطْرًا. We sent a rain of evil upon the nation of Lut alayhi salam. فَسَاءَ مَطَرُ الْمُنذَرِينَ. How evil was the rain of those who were warned. إِنَّ فِي ذَلِكَ لَآيَةً. Verily in that is a miraculous sign for you. وَمَا كَانَ أَكْثَرُهُم مُؤْمِنِينَ. But most people do not have iman. وَإِنَّ رَبَّكَ لَهُوَ الْعَزِيزُ الرَّحِيمُ. Verily, your Lord is the one whose Almighty has the power to punish the disbelievers and is merciful towards the believers. كَذَّبَ أَصْحَابُ الْأَيْكَةِ الْمُرْسَلِينَ. Even the companions of the wood, they even denied the messengers. And this is related, these are people related to Madian, the people of Madian, where Shu'aib alayhi salam was sent. إِذْ قَالَ لَهُمْ شُعَيْبٌ أَلَا تَتَّقُونَ. When Shu'aib said to them, will you not fear? Allah here does not mention أخوهم, because أخوهم means someone who was from that city. All the prophets, Allah mentions أخوهم. Here, Ashab al-Aika, they were not the brothers of Shu'aib. Shu'aib was not from them, so he doesn't mention أخوهم. ألا تتقون. So will you not fear? إني لكم رسول أمين. Verily, I am a trustworthy messenger to all of you. فاتقوا الله وأطيعون. So beware of Allah and obey me. وما أسألكم عليه من أجر. I don't want you to pay me anything. إن أجري إلا على رب العالمين. My reward is with the Lord of all beings. أوفوا الكيل ولا تكونوا من المخسرين. Give in full and do not be of those who cause loss to others by giving less. Give everybody their measures. وزنوا بالقسطاس المستقيم. And weigh the scales straight. ولا تبخسوا الناس أشياءهم. And do not reduce in people's goods. ولا تعثوا في الأرض مفسدين. And do not cause corruption in the land. واتقوا الذي خلقكم والجبلة الأولين. Beware of the one, be conscious of the one, worship the one who created you and the generations of the past for you. قالوا إنما أنت من المسحرين. They responded, you are someone who is bewitched, who is affected by magic. وما أنت إلا بشر مثلنا. You are just a human being like us. وإن ظنك لمن الكاذبين. And we think that you are among the liars. فأسقط علينا كسفا من السماء إن كنت من الصادقين. Why don't you bring a piece of sky on us, bring it down, so that if you are truthful, let's see that. قال ربي أعلم بما تعملون. And he says, my Rabb, he knows better of what you are doing. فكذبوه. So they denied, they rejected the messenger, Shu'aib alayhi salam. فأخذهم عذاب يوم الظلم. So the punishment of the day of overshadowing took hold of them and seized them. So what happened is that they wanted the piece of sky to fall, and so what Allah does is brings a huge cloud on top of them, and He sends rain on them, and that rain really kills them. Okay, so whatever they ask for, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gives them exactly. يوم الظلم إنه كان عذاب يوم عظيم. Verily the punishment was a grave. That punishment was a grave punishment. إن في ذلك لآية. Verily in that is a miraculous sign. وما كان أكثرهم مؤمنين. But most people do not have iman. وَإِنَّ رَبَّكَ لَهُوَ الْعَزِيزُ الرَّحِيمُ. Verily your Lord has a power to punish the disbelievers, is almighty, and He's most merciful towards the believers. وَإِنَّهُ لَتَنزِيلُ رَبِّ الْعَالَمِينَ. Here comes the definition of the Quran. After going through all these stories, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will talk about the final prophet, Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, right? And here's the definition of the Quran. وَإِنَّهُ لَتَنزِيلُ رَبِّ الْعَالَمِينَ. Verily it is a it is a sending down a revelation of the Lord of all beings. نزل به الروح الأمين. It was sent down through the faithful spirit. Ruh al-Amin, referring to Jibril alayhi salam. Ruh means he's free from defects. He's free from any sins or mistakes. He's Ruh and Amin, the one who is trustworthy. على قلبك لتكون من المنذرين. This Quran came directly to your heart, so you become among those who are warners. بلسان عربي مبين, and it came down in the clear Arabic language, right? Clarity through the Arabic language. وَإِنَّهُ لَفِي زُبُرِ الْأَوَّلِينَ, and it is in the scriptures of the old, that is also mentioned in the previous books. أَوَلَمْ يَكُنْ لَهُمْ آيَةً أَنْ يَعْلَمَهُ عُلَمَاءُ بَنِي إِسْرَائِيلَ. That isn't أَوَلَمْ يَكُنْ لَهُمْ آيَةً, isn't there a sign? Isn't it a sign for the people of Mecca that the learned people of Bani Israel know it? Right? أَيَعْلَمَهُ عُلَمَاءُ بَنِي إِسْرَائِيلَ. The scholars of Bani Israel know. Isn't that a sign for the people of Mecca? وَلَوْ نَزَّلْنَاهُ عَلَى بَعْضِ الْأَعْجَمِينَ. And had it been the case, well, we would have sent it down on any of the non-Arabs. فَقَرَأَهُ عَلَيْهِمْ مَا كَانُوا بِهِ مُؤْمِنِينَ. If it came down on non-Arabs, then he would have read onto them, and they would not have been believers, because they would have said he's not even Arab, there's not even Arabic language. Everything was there, it was perfect. كَذَلِكَ سَلَكْنَاهُ فِي قُلُوبِ الْمُجْرِمِينَ. That's how we cause the Quran to enter through the hearts of the criminals, right? We make sure everybody listens to it, because on the day of judgment you cannot say you don't know. It came in your language, in your city, and you heard about it. You can't say you don't know about it. لا يؤمنون به حتى يروا العذاب الأليم. They're not going to believe in it until they see the painful punishment. فيأتيهم بغتة. That punishment will come all of a sudden. وهم لا يشعرون. And they will not even realize that. فيقولوا هل نحن منظرون. And then when the punishment comes, they will say, do we have any time? هل نحن منظرون. Do we have some time for this? Can we go back and do some righteous deeds? أفبعذابنا يستعجلون. Is it then you're seeking to hasten the punishment? Like when it comes all of a sudden and you're going to be asking for some time, now are you seeking to hasten it? Are you sure about that? أفرأيت إن متعناهم سنين. And do you then see that even if you make them enjoy for years, أفإن متعناهم سنين ثم جاءهم ما كانوا يوعدون, then still whatever has been promised to them will come to them, right? Whether you live for 100 years or 1,000 years, that's not going to save you from the punishment. They're still going to see what we have promised for them. ما أغنى عنهم ما كانوا يمتعون. And whatever they had for enjoyment is not going to help them on that day against the punishment. وَمَا أَهْلَكْنَا مِنْ قَرْيَةٍ إِلَّا لَهَا مُنذِرُونَ. And we never destroy any nation except that nation has a warner. Once people get the warning, once people know what's right, what's wrong, and then they fail to follow it, then the punishment comes, right? So in our case, now that we know, right? So far, if we don't know about it, it's a different story. Now that we know, now the punishment will come if we do not follow what we have been taught. ذِكْرَى وَمَا كُنَّا ظَالِمِينَ, as a reminder, and we are not unjust. May Allah allow us to practice and implement on these ayat. وَمَا تَنَزَّلَتْ بِهِ الشَّيَاطِينَ. This clear book was not brought down by shaitan. That you think that shaitan came and whispered to the Prophet ﷺ that he's bewitched and this curse of your angel saying your gods. وَمَا تَنَزَّلَتْ بِهِ الشَّيَاطِينَ. This is not brought down by the shayateen. وَمَا يَنْبَغِي لَهُمْ وَمَا يَسْتَطِيعُون. It does not suit them, and nor are they able to make it. They can't. This Quran doesn't suit the shayateen. Look what it's calling to. It's calling to leave fahsha. It's calling you to stand up for right. It's calling you to don't follow shaitan. It doesn't fit. It doesn't suit them. Think about it. And nor are they able to make it themselves. Even if the shayateen want, they can't make a Quran like this. إِنَّهُمْ عَنِ السَّمْعِ لَمَعْزُولُونَ. Indeed, they have been kept away from listening to it. They have been kept away. It comes from Jibreel alayhi salam straight to the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. No interruption in the middle. Nobody can hear it. and they protect the stars. It's protected by the stars, so no one can steal anything. فَلَا تَدْعُ مَعَ اللَّهِ إِلَهًا آخَرَ. So don't make any god besides Allah. فَتَكُونَ مِنَ الْمُعَذَّبِينَ. Then you are going to be among those who are punished. And this, the Prophet is even, he's being told here that even you, Ya Rasulullah, if you follow their gods, then even you are going to be punished. وَأَنذِرْ عَشِيرَتَكَ الْأَقْرَبِينَ. You should warn the close relative of yours. And that's what the Prophet, when he gets revelation, first he warns his family, right? He tells Khadija radiallahu anha and all that. When this also refers to the incident of Mount Safa, right? The hill of Safa. The Prophet gets on top of it. In early Sirah, you will study how the Prophet says, O Quraysh, he gets all the people together, and usually people get on that mountain if there's an emergency. So all the people gather, and he calls all of them. Everybody's scared what happened. And he says, Prophet says, if there's an army coming from behind me, from behind this mountain, would you believe me? And they said, of course we will believe in you. Then he says, let me tell you, there's a danger that's coming that's much worse than an army, and that is the day of judgment. I am the messenger of Allah. You should follow Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And so some of his uncles, one of his uncle Abu Lahab was cursing the Prophet and whatnot. So he starts from his family, and he invites people for dinner, and he gives them the invitation of Islam. So Allah says, start warning from your family, ashirataka, your clan and the close relatives. Start from your family and your close relatives. That's where you should be starting, right? Don't think of changing the world, to changing your community and whatnot if your family is not there yet. So start from there. وَخْفِضْ جَنَاحَكَ لِمَنِ اتَّبَعَكَ مِنَ الْمُؤْمِنِينَ. And lower the wings of mercy, right? Lower your wings for those who follow amongst the believers. Meaning be humble towards them, the ones who follow the religion. فَإِنْ عَصَوْكَ. And if they disobey you, فَقُلْ إِنِّي بَرِيءٌ مِّمَّا تَعْمَلُونَ. Then say that I'm innocent from what you do. I want to disassociate from your actions. وَتَوَكَّلْ عَلَى الْعَزِيزِ الرَّحِيمِ. And rely on the most almighty and the most merciful, right? الَّذِي يَرَاكَ حِينَ تَقُومُ. The one who sees you when you stand up. Meaning when you stand up from the gatherings, he sees you, right? He sees you that you're working hard, you're getting up and sitting, all that he sees you. And also what it means is he sees you when you get up in the night praying to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. وَتَقَلُّبَكَ فِي السَّاجِدِينَ. And he sees you when you're turning about among the prostrate ones, right? So this is a description of the Sahabas, right? The Prophet ﷺ, he is moving around with the Sahabas, and Allah saying that he sees you when you're moving around those who prostrate. Among those people who are prostrating, meaning these are people of salah, people of sujood. إِنَّهُ هُوَ السَّمِيعُ الْعَلِيمُ. Really, Allah is all hearing and all doing. هل ننبئكم على من تنزل الشياطين. Should I inform you on whom the shayateen descend? تنزل على كل أفاك أثيم. Shayateen come on every arch liar and sinful person, right? That they come on magicians who are constantly lying, the ones who are controlling the jinns. It comes on sorcerers and astrologers. That it comes on those people, afak and athim. And the Prophet is never a liar. And so it can be a word of a shayateen. يلقون السمع وأكثرهم كاذبون. The shayateen whispers false information to the magicians, right? So they lend the ear, they hear something from the angels, eavesdrop on the angels, something they hear, and they come half truth, half lie, right? And that's why you go to some places, they'll tell you the future and it comes up to be true, right? Some cases. And why? Because these angels, the shayateen that they talk with, they go steal some information from the angels, and they come and tell these magicians, and they tell the future. But if one is truth, the rest of it will be fully lie, right? So Allah says, يلقون السمع, they lend the ear, and most of them are liars. وَالشُّعَرَاءُ يَتَّبِعُهُمُ الْغَاوُونَ. And the poets, only the misguided ones follow them, right? The misguided ones. If the Prophet is a poet, you think, then you will see the people who follow the poets are misguided ones, because look at the followers of the Prophet and look at their followers, right? So poets are usually with the women, with wine, and look at the Prophet with who he is with. أَلَمْ تَرَ أَنَّهُمْ فِي كُلِّ وَادٍ يَهِيمُونَ. Do they not see that they're in every valley wandering here and there? Aimless speech, right? These poets are doing aimless speech, no purpose, and they're going here and there trying to impress the people. But Quran is filled with wisdom and purpose, right? So and poets don't have any moral restrictions. right? They can do whatever. Look at their akhlaq and look at the akhlaq of the Prophet ﷺ. وَأَنَّهُمْ يَقُولُونَ مَا لَا يَفْعَلُونَ, and that they say what they do not do, right? That's the other quality of these poets. So again, so three main things that Allah mentions here about the poets in contrast with the Prophet ﷺ. Number one, misguided ones follow the poets. And number two, the poets, they exaggerate in speech. Okay, they lie, they exaggerate, they don't, their speech is not accurate, not with purpose. And number three is that there's a difference between the words and actions. What the poets say, they don't really follow. And but the Prophet ﷺ, whatever he says, he is doing himself. أَنَّهُمْ يَقُولُونَ مَا لَا يَفْعَلُونَ, they say what they do not know, but what they do not do it themselves. إِلَّا الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا, the only poets who are exempted from that is the ones who have iman. إِلَّا الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا وَعَمِلُوا الصَّالِحَاتِ, and do righteous deeds. وَذَكَرُوا اللَّهَ كَثِيرًا, and they remember Allah a lot. وَانْتَصَرُوا مِنْ بَعْدِ مَا ظُلِمُوا, and they help themselves after being wronged. وَسَيَعْلَمُ الَّذِينَ ظَلَمُوا, the wrongdoers will soon know. أَيَّ مُنْقَلَبٍ يَنْقَلِبُونَ, they will know the place where they are going to be destroyed, right? The wrongdoers, the transgressors will soon know what punishment awaits for them and when and how they are going to be destroyed. Okay, they will soon come to know about these people. Okay, so the final ending, Allah ends with Aminu wa amilu salihat, Iman, righteous deeds, remembering Allah a lot, and helping themselves after being wronged. Okay, so Alhamdulillah brings us to the end of this surah, Surah al-Shu'ara. Okay, move on right to the next surah, inshallah, Surah al-Naml. And Surah al-Naml, so Surah al-Shu'ara, Surah al-Naml, and the next Surah, Surah al-Qasas, they all came in the same sequence. Okay, they're revealed in the same sequence, and they're revealed around middle, during the middle Meccan phase. Okay, so remember the four phases. So about second or third phase of the Prophet's life, these surahs were revealed. And what is the main theme of this surah, Surah al-Naml? Naml means the ants, and the main theme is that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala here is answering the people who ask for signs, right? They keep asking for signs and miracle, and Allah says, look at the signs around them. Look at the signs around you and submit to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. If you do that, then you're going to be successful. And the example of the one who rejects this after knowing the truth is Fir'aun. Okay, so Allah cites his example. And the complete opposite of this, the one who saw the sign, the one who's given the wealth like Fir'aun, and he submits, is an example of Sulaiman alayhi salam. And the Queen Sheba, when she sees the sign and she accepts the message of Sulaiman alayhi salam. So Queen Sheba and Sulaiman alayhi salam are the examples of the people who sees the signs around them, succumb to the truth, and Fir'aun sees the sign, turns arrogant, he is destroyed. Okay, so, and the next surah we'll talk about Qarun, how he had wealth also. So Fir'aun, Sulaiman, Qarun, they all had wealth, but different outcomes, right? Depending on their attitude towards the wealth. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Tasin, tilka ayatul kitab, tilka ayatul Qur'ani wa kitab mubin. These are the signs of the book that is clear. Hudan wa bushra lil mu'minin. This is a guidance. This Quran is a guidance and a good news for those who have iman. Who are the believers? What are their qualities? الَّذِينَ يُقِيمُونَ الصَّلَاةَ, the ones who establish their salam, وَيُؤْتُونَ الزَّكَاةَ, and they give their zakah, وَهُمْ بِالْآخِرَةِ هُمْ يُوقِنُونَ, and they are those who have firm yaqeen, firm iman in the hereafter. إِنَّ الَّذِينَ لَا يُؤْمِنُونَ بِالْآخِرَةِ, and those people who don't have iman in the akhirah, زَيَّنَّا لَهُمْ أَعْمَالَهُم, their deeds are going to be beautified for them, فَهُمْ يَعْمَهُونَ, and they're going to wander blindly. The akhirah, believing the akhirah is the most important aspect that one needs to have for them to change, for them to have a moral revolution. One needs to have akhirah in perspective, because otherwise, why would you help others? Why would you give up your rights? Why would you be patient when wrong things happen to you? All these things only make sense when there is akhirah in perspective. Otherwise, you would do all kinds of wrong things, and that will be beautified for you, right? زَيَّنَ لَهُمْ عَمَلُهُمْ, it will be beautified for you, because for you only this dunya is what matters. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala here is really highlighting the hereafter, right? Allah mentions, and those who don't follow the hereafter, their deeds their deeds are beautified for them, the evil deeds, and they wander blindly. أولئك الذين لهم سوء العذاب. They will have the evil of punishment. وهم في الآخرة هم الأخسرون. And they're going to be the biggest losers in the hereafter. وإنك لتلقى القرآن من لدن حكيم عليم. And indeed, you are made to receive the Quran from the all-wise and the one who is all-knowing. إذ قال موسى لأهله. Remember when Musa ﷺ said to his family, إني آنست نارا. I perceive a fire. سآتيكم منها بخبر. Let me go and get some news for you. أو آتيكم بشهاب. Or I'll get a blaze of coal for you. قبس لعلكم تصطلون. So that you may warm yourself. So the Musa ﷺ was after he goes to Madian, he spends 8 or 10 years in Madian. He's coming back to Egypt. He's going somewhere, and then he gets lost in some land. Okay, it was a new land for him, and so he didn't know the directions. It was a cold night, perhaps, because he says, "Let me go and get some fire to get you warm." And so he was lost. It was cold, everything, and he tells his family, "Let me go and get some guidance for you, some fire for you." And he actually comes not only the physical fire, he comes with the guidance of nubuwah, right, of prophethood and guidance of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. لَعَلَّكُمْ تَصْطَلُونَ فَلَمَّا جَاءَهَا نُودِيَ. When he came to it, an address was made to him, أَنْ بُورِكَ مَنْ فِي النَّارِ. That blessed are those who are in the fire. The blessed are those who are near the light, near this illumination. وَمَنْ حَوْلَهَا. And those around them. وَسُبْحَانَ اللَّهِ رَبِّ الْعَالَمِينَ. Glory to Allah, the Lord of all beings. You know, it's like a sudden noise comes from the tree. And just like the Prophet ﷺ, when he was in the cave, and he goes up to the mountain, when he gets a sound and he's shocked, same thing happens to Musa ﷺ. Ya Musa, oh Musa. Musa ﷺ gets scared, right? Because like, how I never came here before. How do people know my name? And like, what's name? I don't see anybody here. Ya Musa, innahu an Allahu al-Aziz al-Hakim. Verily it's me, Allah, the Almighty and the All-Wise. The same terms, same names used from the previous surah. Al-Aziz al-Hakim. وَأَلْقِ عَصَاكَ. And throw your stick. فَلَمَّا رَآهَا تَهْتَزُّ كَأَنَّهَا جَانٌّ وَلَا مُدْبِرًا وَلَمْ يُعَقِّبْ. And when he threw the stick, it started moving like a serpent, and he tried to he started running away from that. وَلَمْ يُعَقِّبْ. And he did not look back. Ran for his life. Ya Musa, O Musa, لَا تَخَفْ. Don't be scared. إِنِّي لَا يَخَافُ لَدَيَّ الْمُرْسَلُونَ. That the messengers are not scared in my presence, in my supervision, under my supervision. إِلَّا مَنْ ظَلَمَ ثُمَّ بَدَّلَ حُسْنًا. The only ones who should be scared is the one who did something wrong. Like Musa ﷺ punched the guy in Egypt and came. So Musa ﷺ is thinking, man, I killed someone. Like, that's me. Well, except for the one who ظلم, but ثُمَّ بَدَّلَ حُسْنًا بَعْدَ سُوءٍ. But he replaced he replaced it with goodness. After doing evil, he repented and fixed his things. فَإِنِّي غَفُورٌ رَحِيمٌ. Verily, I am most forgiving and most merciful. Don't worry, Musa, you're fine. وَأَدْخِلْ يَدَكَ فِي جَيْبِكَ. Put your hand in your pocket. تَخْرُجُ بَيْضَاءَ مِنْ غَيْرِ سُوءٍ. It will come out white without any blemish. فِي تِسْعِ آيَاتٍ إِلَى فِرْعَوْنَ وَقَوْمِهِ. And among these are the 9 signs. This will be among the 9 signs that will give to Fir'aun and his people. إِنَّهُمْ كَانُوا قَوْمًا فَاسِقِينَ. They are people who have crossed their boundaries, Musa. You gotta go fix them up. فَلَمَّا جَاءَتْهُمْ آيَاتُنَا مُبْصِرَةً. And when they came to them, when our clear ayat came to them, قالوا هذا سحر مبين. Fir'aun said, this is a clear magic. وجحدوا بها. And he rejected those signs. واستيقنتها أنفسهم. And his self was convinced. He was convinced that this is the truth. ظلما وعلوا. But he rejected it out of unjustly and arrogantly. فانظر كيف كان عاقبة المفسدين. Look at the end of the mischief makers, right? When he recognized the truth, he became arrogant and unjustly rejects that truth. And the complete opposite was Queen Sheba. We'll talk about that. And Sulaiman alayhi salam. وَلَقَدْ أَتِينَا دَاوُودَ وَسُلَيْمَانَ عِلْمًا. And indeed, we gave Dawood and Sulaiman knowledge. وَقَالَ. And both of them, the father and son, said, Alhamdulillah, all praise and thanks to Allah, الَّذِي فَضَّلَنَا عَلَى كَثِيرٍ مِّنْ عِبَادِهِ الْمُؤْمِنِينَ. The one who has favored us among many of the believers, right? And that is us today, right? Alhamdulillah, that what we have is we are favored among many of the believers around, right? Because of the knowledge of the Quran. right? Knowledge of the Quran. علم القرآن وورث سليمان داود, and Sulaiman inherited from Dawood not just the wealth, but inherited from his wisdom. He inherited from his good qualities. قال يا أيها الناس, and so he says, "Oh people, يا أيها الناس علمنا منطق الطير." I have been given the knowledge of the speech of birds. I can understand this. I can understand the language of birds. وَأُوتِينَا مِنْ كُلِّ شَيْءٍ, and I've been given a lot of things. إِنَّ هَذَا لَهُوَ الْفَضْلُ الْمُبِينُ, verily it is a clear favor of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. وحشر لسليمان جنوده سليمان جنوده من الجن والإنس والطير فهم يوزعون. And Sulaiman alayhi salam mustered his armies, his troops together. His army was made up of jinn and ins, human beings, and طير, and birds. فهم يوزعون, and they were in their own battalions, in their own groups, marching. This shows a strict discipline of Sulaiman alayhi salam, right? That kind of a leader he was able to control all these creatures. حتى إذا أتوا على واد النمل, as he was marching, going somewhere, he comes across a valley of ants. قالت نملة, a female ant speaks up, a queen ant, she speaks up, and Sulaiman salam could understand this, and she says, "Ya ayyuhan naml, O the ants, udkhulu masakinakum, enter your homes, enter your holes, la yahtimannakum Sulaiman wa junuduhu wa hum la yash'urun, lest that if you don't go, then Sulaiman and army are coming, they might crush you, and they won't even realize that." What do we see here? A tiny creation. I don't think we could ever get this anywhere in any other book or through any other source of ants speaking and Allah capturing what's happening, right? So we get an insight of how these creatures, what are they talking? Sometimes you see these ants like going, and then like they kind of stop, they talk to each other, something happens, and they go, right? Not so much here, but back home in India or Pakistan, you probably have witnesses, right? So you see ants everywhere, and you see like they come talk, something is happening, some communication is happening, very busy, they go in a line, straight line, subhanallah. And so Allah says that this female ant is making an announcement that go, save, protect yourself. This tiny creation, Allah is teaching us through this tiny creation that you should not blame others for the mistakes. It's blaming itself. It's teaching, it's telling its people, take precaution, don't blame Sulaiman. If they crush you, they won't know. So learn to protect yourself. And then فَتَبَسَّمَ ضَاحِكًا مِنْ قَوْلِهَا, and Sulaiman, and the ant, when he heard the ant speaking like this, Sulaiman alayhi salam, he smiled and laughed at her words. But he first smiled and then he laughed at the words of the ant. And what does he do? He doesn't become arrogant. He says, وَقَالَ رَبِّي أَوْزِعْنِي, my Rabb, أَوْزِعْنِي أَنْ أَشْكُرَ نِعْمَتَكَ الَّتِي أَنْعَمْتَ عَلَيْهِ, allow me to be grateful to you for the favors that you have given me and the favors you have bestowed on my father, right? Dawud alayhi salam. وعلى والدي وأن أعمل صالحا ترضاه, and allow me to do good deeds that you are pleased with. وَدِخِلْنِي بِرَحْمَتِكَ, and admit me into your mercy amongst the righteous servants. Beautiful dua, right? We should all memorize it and make this dua in every single salah. That allow me to be grateful to you because you've just given me so much. Don't make me among those who are neglectful of Allah's favor, and upon my parents, father, and on parents in general, that because of my parents who have given me this blessing, who have taught me this, Ya Allah, allow me to thank my parents as well, and allow me to do good deeds through this. That what matters is not the wealth, the position, how much deeds that you do. Allow me to do good deeds. Don't get me distracted in this, and enter me into Jannah. And that is only in your hand. We don't enter Jannah through our deeds. Even the Prophet ﷺ, he will not enter Jannah through his deeds. He will enter Jannah through the mercy of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So adkhilni bi rahmatik, enter me into your mercy among the righteous servants of yours. What we see here is that shukr for the blessing. And we should thank Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for the blessings. And that's what the Prophet ﷺ, he would stay up in the night and he would be making dua, right? He would be praying and he'd be saying, أَفَلَا أَكُونَ عَبْدًا شَكُورًا, will I not be a grateful servant of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, right? So being grateful for what we have and never complain. Look at the things that you have, don't look at the things that you don't have. In Israelites, in Jewish traditions and Christian tradition, Sulaiman alayhi salam has a very bad name. I'll talk more about this towards the end of Sulaiman's story. But here, specifically in this incident, they say that when he heard ants speak like this, Sulaiman alayhi salam showed great vanity and pride at its achievement, right? So it's like, yeah, that's right. It showed arrogance that is me and all that, when rather look at what Allah is saying, right? Allah comes and removes Sulaiman salam from all those stains. وَتَفَقَّدَ الطَّيْرِ, and he inspected, he looked at the army and was going through and checking if everybody was there and everybody is in their lines. فَقَالَ مَا لِيَ لَا أَرَى الْهُدْهُدْ. He says, what's the matter with me? I don't see a hudhud today, right? Hupi. أَمْ كَانَ مِنَ الْغَائِبِينَ, or is he among the absentees? What's up today, right? Strict rules of Sulaiman alayhi salam. And look how much he knew about his army. Entire human beings, jinns and birds, but he could still recognize who's missing, right? Al-Hud, or why is it absent today? لَوْعَذِّبَنَّهُ عَذَابًا شَدِيدًا, I'm going to punish him with a severe punishment. أَوْ لَأَذْبَحَنَّهُ, or I'm going to slaughter this bird. أَوْ لَيَأْتِيَنِّي بِسُلْطَانٍ مُبِينٍ, or he should bring a clear excuse. Shows what? The strict rules. And sometimes people today think that strict rules, all this is being oppressive. No, higher the goals, greater the punishment. Higher the goals, greater the punishment. And Sulaiman had high goals. His punishment was very severe, so no one dare, cross his lines. He could control the jinns. The jinns were scared, and we will study this later on. The jinns, they're working under the supervision of Sulaiman. Sulaiman was dead on the chair, and they continued working for several months. They continued working, thinking that Sulaiman is watching them. But when his stick, was eaten up by these insects, then when he fell, then they came to know, Sulaiman is dead. Then that's how scared the jinns were. They were working, constantly. فَمَكَثَ غَيْرَ بَعِيدٍ, and so they stayed. So this bird did not go that far. It came back. فَقَالَ أَحَطُّ, he said, I have learned بِمَا لَمْ تُحِطُ بِهِ, I know something that you don't know, king. وَجِئْتُكَ بِسَبَإٍ بِنَبَإٍ يَقِينٍ, I have come to you from Saba with a great news. This is referring to Queen Sheba, and who lived in Yemen. So Sulaiman salam was in Palestine and Syria, and she goes to Yemen, south, and she comes back with this news. And look at the analysis of the bird. Now, bird speaking, okay? إِنِّي وَجَدْتُ امْرَأَةً تَمْلِكُهُمْ, I found a woman ruling over them. وَأُوتِيَتْ مِنْ كُلِّ شَيْءٍ, and she's been given a lot of things. وَلَهَا عَرْشٌ عَظِيمٌ, and she has a magnificent throne. Like this bird who's from the throne of Sulaiman salam is saying, that throne is amazing, magnificent throne. You can imagine how great that is. عرش عظيم وجدتها وقومها يسجدون للشمس من دون الله, and I found that her and her nation are doing prostration to the sun besides Allah. How could they? وَزَيَّنَ لَهُمُ الشَّيْطَانُ أَعْمَالَهُم, you know why? Because Shaitan has beautified their deeds for them. This is all bird speaking. فَصَدَّهُمْ عَنِ السَّبِيلِ فَهُمْ لَا يَهْتَدُونَ, Shaitan has prevented them from the right path, and they're not among the ones who are guided, right? The bird's analysis, bird is saying, first of all, they're doing shirk, because number two, because of Shaitan, and number three, only this show, and also the knowledge of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, right? So, and it's talking who Allah should be, right? Allah is the one who should be worshipped, and not, and Shaitan has prevented them from the way of Allah. They're not guided, right? So birds are not dumb creatures, they're very smart creatures, right? So a bird could be a witness for our deeds. You know what that means? This is what it means. Like, birds can be a witness for us. You do something wrong, nobody's watching. It might be like an ant going somewhere, maybe a small insect going somewhere, like birds. They could see our deeds and they could be a witness, right? Or some virus could be a witness, or some creature, some species living in the room that we can't even see. That could be a witness for us or against us on the day of judgment. أَلَّا يَسْجُدُوا لِلَّهِ الَّذِي يُخْرِجُ الْخَبَأَ فِي السَّمَاوَاتِ وَالْأَرْضِ, they should not prostrate themselves. They do not prostrate themselves to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the one who brings out the hidden in the heavens and the earth, وَيَعْلَمُ مَا تُخْفُونَ وَمَا تُعْلِنُونَ, and the one who knows and conceals everything. Allahu la ilaha illahu, Allah, there's no one worthy of worship except Him. Rabbul Arshul Azim, the Lord of the great throne. The great throne. So you're talking about the Arshul Azim of this queen, but the real Rabb is Allah, who has the magnificent, the most sublime throne. So see, I have sajda, inshallah. So let's do sajda. Like what it shows is that they are doing sajda to the sun, but we should not do it to the sun or any other creation except Allah. So we are going to mimic that, inshallah. Okay. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. قال سننظر أصدقت أم كنت من الكاذبين. Let's see, bird, whether you have spoken the truth or whether you are lying. اذهب بكتابي هذا. Take this letter of mine فألقه إليهم. Deliver it to the queen. ثم تولى عنهم فانظر ماذا يرجعون. Then come back to me. Let's see what they come with. قالت يا أيها الملأ. And so when the queen receives this letter, what does she do? يا أيها الملأ. Oh, the nobles. إني ألقي إليه كتاب كريم. Verily, a noble letter has come to me. إنه من سليمان. It is from Sulaiman عليه السلام. وإنه بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. And this letter is strange because it begins with the Lord, in the name of Allah, the most merciful, the most compassionate, and most merciful. Usually letters begin with the name of the king, calling people to submit to the king and whatnot. Here, this letter is mentioning Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's name. Allah ta'alu alayya wa atuni muslimin. And the letter says that don't overtop me and come to me as Muslims. Meaning submit to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, become a Muslim. Do not do what you are doing. Okay, and we see here the job of a prophet, right? A job of a Muslim, of a believer, is to establish the law of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala on the earth. And that's exactly what Sulaiman salam is involved in, that nobody should be worshipping. And if you want to worship, you could worship under the rule of a believer, right? And pay the jizya, like we talked about before. قالت يا أيها الملأ. She said, oh, the nobles, أفتوني في أمري. Counsel me in my affairs. Give me your opinion. ما كنت قاطعة أمرا حتى تشهدون. I don't take any decisions without your consultation. Tell me, what should we do? What do we see here? The good quality of this queen. This queen was not arrogant, was not a dictator, but she was actually someone who consults people before making a decision. Show some good qualities of her. قالوا نحن أولو قوة وأولو بأس شديد والأمر إليك فانظري ماذا تأمرين. They say that, look, we are powerful, we have the powers to do, and we can destroy nations. It's okay, and the command is yours. Do what you have to do. We are ready to fight. قالت إن الملوك إذا دخلوا قرية أفسدوها وجعلوا أعزة أهلها أذلة وكذلك فعلوا. She says a profound statement that is kind of summarizes all of, if you were to see how nations conquer, if we can summarize this in one statement, right? Whenever nations enter and take over another land, they make the rich and the people of high position the lowest ones. The respected ones, they make the respected ones the humiliated ones of that society, and that's what they will do, right? And she's correct in that, right? That's what nations usually do. They humiliate the ones who are of high, are very powerful. And that's why the Prophet ﷺ, when he enters Mecca, what does he do? He actually honors the leaders of Quraysh. He doesn't say, okay, this person is humiliated, is going to be, no. He says anybody who goes to the house of Abu Sufyan is safe, right? Anybody who goes to his house is safe. Why? Because Allah, the Prophet is still honoring those leaders. It's not like the cruel leaders who will humiliate the respected ones. إِنِّي مُرْسِلَةٌ إِلَيْهِمْ بِهَدِيَّةٍ. I'm going to send to them a present. فَنَاظِرَةٌ مِمَّا يَرْجِعُ الْمُرْسَلُونَ. And let's see what the messengers come back with. So the queen tries to send a small gift, some money and something like that, to keep the king quiet. And so she sends that. What happens? فَلَمَّا جَاءَ سُلَيْمَانَ. When they came to Sulaiman, قَالَ أَتُمِدُّونَنِي بِمَالٍ. Are you aiding me with wealth? فَمَا آتَانِيَ اللَّهُ خَيْرٌ مِمَّا آتَاكُمْ. No, what Allah has given me is much better than this. بَلْ أَنْتُمْ بِهَدِيَّتِكُمْ تَفْرَحُونَ. No, it's you who are delighted by this wealth. Me, I'm not here for wealth. I'm here for the akhirah. I'm here for good deeds. I'm not impressed by the wealth that you are giving. ارجع إليهم. Go back to your queen. فَلَنَأْتِيَنَّهُمْ بِجُنُودٍ لَا قِبْلَ لَهُمْ بِهَا. We're going to surely come with an army that you have no power to resist. وَلَنُخْرِجَنَّهُمْ مِنْهَا أَذِلَّةً. And we are going to expel you with disgrace. وَهُمْ صَاغِرُونَ. While you are humiliated. صَاغِرُون is used in Surah Tawbah and the jizya. Right? Take the jizya from them, so they remain صَاغِرُون, remain humiliated, powerless. Right? Same word, because they're going to come and put jizya tax on them, so they don't get the power to fight back. قَالَ يَا أَيُّهَا الْمَلَأُ. So he said to his courtiers, يَا أَيُّهَا الْمَلَأُ, O the chief, أَيُّكُمْ يَأْتِينِي. So then the middle conversation is all skipped to them going back, and then probably the queen says, fine, I will myself want to come and see Sulaiman. Tell him not to come for a fight. Let me come myself. And so after that, Sulaiman says, Ya ayyuhal mala'u, O the chiefs, O my courtiers, ayyukum ya'tini bi'arshiha qabla an ya'tuni muslimin. Who is going to go and bring her throne to me before she comes to us? Qala ifritum min al-jinn. Ifrit, who was from the jinns, he says, Ana atika bihi qabla an taquma min maqamik. I will bring the throne before you get up from your throne. Wa inni alayhi laqawiyyun amin. Verily I'm strong and trustworthy. Trust me, I'll bring it. قال الذي عنده علم من الكتاب. Another person on who had the knowledge of the book, he stands up, and we don't know who this is. Wallahu alam. There's no mention of this in Quran or Hadith. أنا آتيك به قبل أن يرتد إليك طرفك. I will bring this throne to you before you blink your eye. Before the next flick, before the next blink, I'm going to bring this throne. And as he's speaking, he blinks the eyes. The throne is right in front of him. From Yemen, all the way it came in. Not even the speed of light, right? فَلَمَّا رَآهُ مُسْتَقِيرًا عِنْدَهُ. And when he saw this right in front of him, قَالَ هَذَا مِنْ فَضْلِ رَبِّي لِيَبْلُوَنِي أَأَشْكُرُ أَمْ أَكْفُرُ. This is from the favor of my Rabb, so that he may test me if you are grateful or ungrateful. This blessing Allah has given me, not because of my own wealth. Unlike Qarun, later on we'll study that he will say, this is because of my own. This is because of my own efforts that I got this. But Allah, he says what? This Allah has given me because to test me whether I'm grateful or whether I'm ungrateful. وَمَنْ شَكَرَ فَإِنَّمَا يَشْكُرُ لِنَفْسِهِ. Whoever is grateful, he's only grateful for himself. He's only benefiting himself. وَمَنْ كَفَرَ. And whoever becomes ungrateful, فَإِنَّ رَبِّي غَنِيٌّ كَرِيمٌ. Verily, my Lord is above want and he's all bountiful. What we see here is that the Lord, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the one who moves the sun and the stars, right, millions of miles in seconds, he can bring this throne in no time, right? Allah has the power. And what we also see here is like our knowledge is very limited. Our knowledge is very limited. That's why a lot of people deny these miracles. They cannot fathom. That's why the Quraysh, Prophet going to Misra and Mi'raj, going and coming back was a surprise, because mentally, for their mind, it didn't make sense. That's why the Quraysh denied that journey, right? And so many of the people might deny this. And the concept of time and space and matter and movement, these are all formed by us based on experiment. But the reality is way beyond that. And we know that the concept of time is still, we don't know what time is about, right? There's so much theories on that, and trying to understand what time is. It's a different dimension and whatnot. Allahu alam, that really shows how limited our knowledge is, and how no matter how advanced we have become, we are still behind Sulaiman alayhi salam's time, right? Look at that. Can anybody do that? Pick up that whole thing, change matter, everything is changed, time, speed, everything is changed, and thrown it right in front of, and it's kept like that, not destroyed, right? Allahu Akbar. So قَالَ نَكِّرُوا لَهَا. So when the throne comes, Sulaiman says, make it disguise, cover it up. Okay, do not make it obvious. Cover this throne up. عَاشَهَا نَنْظُرْ أَتَهْتَدِي أَمْ تَكُونُ مِنَ الَّذِينَ لَا يَهْتَدُونَ. Let's see if she's going to be among the ones who are guided or the ones who are not guided. So the Prophet, Sulaiman Islam is trying to bring her to Islam through this. We'll see what happens. فَلَمَّا جَاءَتْ. When she came, it was said to her, قِيلَ أَهَكَذَا عَرْشُكَ. Is this your throne, queen? قالت كأنه. It looks like it is, but looks like it is, but it is not. وأوتينا العلم من قبلها وكنا مسلمين. And we had given knowledge before her, and we had been Muslims, right? So this is Sulaiman alayhi salam. So what he says is, the first thing is, the queen is kind of surprised, right? Like, how, if it's mine, how did it come so fast, and who brought it here, and all that? She's confused. And so that confusion, Sulaiman salam answers by saying, look, Allah gave us this knowledge, and so you should submit to Allah. Like, if you submit to Allah, Allah will give you much more powers than what you currently have. Like Yusuf alayhi salam, when he was in the prison, he says to the prisoners, like, before the next food comes, the next meal comes, I will tell you what it is. And this interpretation of dream is because Allah has taught me, right? So whatever good strengths you have, you attribute that to Allah. That's a good way to bring people to Islam. That's da'wah. So she says, and he says, sorry, وَأُوتِينَا الْعِلْمَ مِنْ قَبْلِهَا وَكُنَّا مُسْلِمِينَ. And we have been given this knowledge because we have been Muslims before this. وَصَدَّهَا مَا كَانَتْ تَعْبُدُ مِنْ دُونِ اللَّهِ. Whatever she used to worship besides Allah stopped her from accepting the truth that was preventing her. She needed more proofs. إِنَّهَا كَانَتْ مِنْ قَوْمٍ كَافِرِينَ. She was from the people who were disbelievers. قِيلَ لَهَا دُخُولِ الصَّرْحِ. And when it was said to her, enter the palace, right? Inside the throne, she had her palace. Enter the palace. فَلَمَّا رَأَتْهُ. When she saw it, حسبته لجة. She thought it was a pool. وكشفت عن ساقيها. So she uncovered her two legs. She picked it up. She thought there's water because her actual throne had water, and so she thought it's water. So she picked up her clothing, and her legs were a little bit uncovered. قال إنه صرح ممرد من قوارير. It is a palace paved with crystals. When she actually stepped on it, she realized there's a crystal or glass on top of it, and then she was stepping on glass. Right? Oh, this is glass. There's a glass put on top of it. You can imagine how quick that manufacturing happened. Right? Before when she came, everything was done. قالت ربي إني ظلمت نفسي وأسلمت مع سليمان لله رب العالمين. As soon as she sees this, she says that I have wronged myself, Ya Allah, and I surrender with Suleiman to the Lord of all beings. What is this? What is that? Therefore, how does she change? What did that glass meant to her? Because for her, Iman is what you can see. You can only believe in what you can see. That's what they used to worship the sun, because that's the biggest, brightest thing that you could see. Seeing is believing for them. Now, through these examples, through two examples, Sulaiman showed that seeing is not believing. You could not see something and that thing can still exist. And so it must be the Supreme Lord who created all of this and whom Sulaiman is following. That must be the real God, the all-powerful, way beyond the Lord of the sun. Because if sun was the God, then I would have been given more than what Sulaiman has been given. So she submits to it. So things that led to her acceptance, 5 things that led to the acceptance of her Islam. Number 1 is a letter of Sulaiman alayhi salam, because the Sulaiman alayhi salam's letter says Allah's name. So she kind of got to know about Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala there. And then number 2, rejecting gifts. Sulaiman alayhi salam rejects the gift. He doesn't accept it. So she knew he was very different. He was not like other kings who wants to get power and wealth and whatnot, because that's the whole point of conquering lands, to get more power. But he's not after that. Number 3 is the pious life conveyed by the envoys. So when these people came to Sulaiman alayhi salam, the messengers came to Sulaiman alayhi salam, they must have seen Sulaiman alayhi salam's worship, his living and style, whatnot. They must have gone and told Queen Sheba, and she was impressed, and she wanted to come and meet this king personally. And so that is number 3. Number 4 is also the removal of throne from Ma'arib to Jerusalem. Right, her throne was in Yemen, in Ma'arib, the capital of Yemen, and so it was brought from Ma'arib to Jerusalem. Even that was something shocking to her. The power of Sulaiman alayhi salam that brought her closer to Islam. And finally, it is Sulaiman alayhi salam's humility despite his powers, that how he is submissive to Allah, is not arrogant, that all of that brought her to Islam. And so Sulaiman lillahi rabbil alameen. And so here we see complete opposite of Fir'aun. Fir'aun saw the clear signs, did not accept it, but Queen Sheba, she sees the signs, he immediately accepts and submits to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And just before I move on to the next story, Sulaiman alayhi salam has been accused in the Jewish tradition. He has been accused of having illicit relationship with Queen Sheba, right? And they say that he had illicit relationship, and that gave rise to a race that's called Nebuchadnezzar. It's very hard to pronounce this. And this was a race that came and destroyed Jerusalem. So they blame Sulaiman alayhi salam for the destruction of Jerusalem when he's the one who built it. That's one. And they also accuse him of violating Allah's command, right? Laws of Allah. Like he used to constantly disobey Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He had pride. They accuse him of luxurious living. They accuse him of polytheism and idol worshipping, right? All of this. And they say prophets can do it, so we can do it too, right? So that's ideology. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala came to save Sulaiman salam from all of these things, to free him from that. وَلَقَدْ أَرْسَلْنَا إِلَى ثَمُودَ أَخَاهُمْ صَالِحًا أَنِ يَعْبُدُوا اللَّهَ وَإِذَا هُمْ فَرِيقَانِ يَخْتَصِمُونَ. And we sent to Samud their brother Salih alayhi salam, and he said, worship Allah. وَإِذَا هُمْ فَرِيقَانِ يَخْتَصِمُونَ. Immediately there were 2 groups arguing, contesting one another, one saying yes, one saying no. قَالَ يَا قَوْمِ. He said, O my people, لِمَ تَسْتَعْجِلُونَ بِالسَّيِّئَةِ قَبْلَ الْحَسَنَةِ. Why do you hasten for Allah's punishment before the mercy of Allah and before His forgiveness? لَوْلَا تَسْتَغْفِرُونَ اللَّهَ لَعَلَّكُمْ تُرْحَمُونَ. Why don't you seek Allah's forgiveness so that He may be merciful to you? قَالُوا طَيَّرْنَا بِكَ وَبِمَنْ مَعَكَ. No, said, O Salih, we regard you and your companion as a bad omen. Because of you, there's a bad omen. First, what that means is our gods got angry at you that you're calling for one God. You're asking us to leave them. They got angry, and so there's a bad omen on you. That's what this is happening to you. And what this also means is that because of you, there's a bad omen, which means that we are divided. Our country is divided. We're separated. And that's what happened when the Prophet came. The father was separated from the son, and the wife was separated from the husband, right? People of Iman separating. It was a split. So that's what tayyarna means, that evil omen has come on you. قَالَ طَائِرُكُمْ عِنْدَ اللَّهِ. No, that the good or bad omen is in the sight of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. بَلْ أَنْتُمْ قَوْمٌ تُفْتَنُونَ. But rather you're people who are under trial and tested. وَكَانَ فِي الْمَدِينَةِ تِسْعَةُ رَهْطٍ. And there were within the city there were 9 chiefs. يُفْسِدُونَ فِي الْأَرْضِ. Were causing corruption in the land. وَلَا يُصْلِحُونَ. And did not rectify. قالوا, those 9 chiefs, they said, تَقَاسَمُوا بِاللَّهِ. Let's take an oath by Allah. لَنُبَيِّتَنَّهُ. We will attack him by the night. وَأَهْلَهُ. And his family. ثُمَّ لَنَقُولَنَّ لِوَلِيِّهِ. Then we will say to the family of Salih alayhi salam, مَا شَهِدْنَا مَهْلِكَ أَهْلِهِ وَإِنَّا لَصَادِقُونَ. We did not witness any destruction of his people, and we are truthful. Exactly like what they did with the Prophet ﷺ on the evening of his migration, right? They decided to get one member from each clan, right, young men, and they're going to go and attack the Prophet, hit one hit on him all at the same time, so that when the Prophet is killed, they would say, oh, this is all the tribes involved, so these people can't take revenge, right? Because all the tribes are involved, and then one member from each family, so they can't take revenge. So they plan to do this with the Prophet, and the same thing they did with Salih alayhi salam way before. Salih, if you remember, the reason why they didn't want to kill Salih ﷺ is because he was from their tribe, from their clan. وَلَوْلَا رَحْتُكَ لَرَجَمْنَاكَ. If it was not for your family, we would have killed you. And so same thing with Quraysh. They did not kill the Prophet ﷺ because he was from their family, from their clan, right? From the same tribe. And so Allah says they plan the same thing, and what happens? وَمَكْرُوا مَكْرًا. They plot, and we also plot. وَمَكَرْنَا مَكْرًا وَهُمْ لَا يَشْعُرُونَ. And they didn't realize. فَانْظُرْ كَيْفَ كَانَ عَاقِبَةُ مَكْرِهِمْ. Look at the end of their plot. أَنَّا دَمَّرْنَاهُمْ وَقَوْمَهُمْ أَجْمَعِينَ. We destroyed them, and they were people all destroyed all of them once for all. Okay. So when they planned to kill the Prophet, they were all killed that same night by this punishment. فَتِلْكَ بُيُوتُهُمْ خَاوِيَةً بِمَا ظَلَمُوا. So those are the houses that are ruined because they wronged themselves. إِنَّ فِي ذَلِكَ لَآيَةً لِقَوْمٍ يَعْلَمُونَ. Verily in that is a miraculous sign for a nation that knows. وَأَنْجَيْنَا الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا وَكَانُوا يَتَّقُونَ. And we saved those who had iman and those who used to fear Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. وَلُوطًا. And Lut, إِذْ قَالَ لِقَوْمِهِ. When he said to his people, أَتَأْتُونَ الْفَاحِشَةَ وَأَنْتُمْ تُبْصِرُونَ. Are you committing adultery, fornication, while you see through it that this is wrong, homosexuality? أَإِنَّكُمْ لَتَأْتُونَ الرِّجَالَ شَهْوَةً مِّن دُونِ النِّسَاءِ. Are you approaching men in passion instead of the women? بَلْ أَنْتُمْ قَوْمٌ تَجْهَلُونَ. No, you are people that lack reason. فَمَا كَانَ جَوَابَ قَوْمِهِ إِلَّا أَنْ قَالُوا. The response of the people was nothing except that they said, أَخْرِجُوا آلَ لُوطٍ مِّن قَرْيَتِكُمْ. Get Lut alayhi salam out of your town. إِنَّهُمْ أُنَاسٌ يَتَطَهَّرُونَ. They are indeed people who want to purify themselves. فَأَنْجَيْنَاهُ وَأَهْلَهُ إِلَّا امْرَأَتَهُ قَدَّرْنَاهَا مِنَ الْغَابِرِينَ. And so we saved Lut alayhi salam and his family except for his wife, and we destined her to be among those who are left behind. وَأَمْطَرْنَا عَلَيْهِمْ مَطْرًا. And we rained on them in a rain. فَسَاءَ مَطْرُ الْمُنذَرِينَ. How evil was the rain of those who are warned. قُلِ الْحَمْدُ لِلَّهِ. Say Alhamdulillah wa salamun ala ibadihi alladhina istafa. And peace and blessings be upon his servants. This is how we begin our speech. The etiquette of giving a speech. When you are giving a speech, Islamic speech, calling people to Islam, whatnot, you start with Alhamdulillah. Say Alhamdulillah, all praise and thanks to Allah, and peace be upon the servants الذين اصطفى, whom Allah has chosen. Allahu khayrun amma yushrikun. Is Allah better or your partners? Who is better? أَمَّنْ خَلَقَ السَّمَاوَاتِ وَالْأَرْضِ. Or the one who created the heavens and the earth. وَأَنزَلَ لَكُم مِّنَ السَّمَاءِ مَاءً. The one who sent down the water from the sky. فَأَنبَتْنَا بِهِ حَدَائِقَ ذَاتَ بَهْجَةٍ. The one who brought for you gardens full of beauty. وَمَا كَانَ لَكُمْ أَن تُنبِتُوا شَجَرَهَا. You would not have the strength to grow these plants yourself. أَإِلَٰهٌ مَّعَ اللَّهِ. Is there any God with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? Can there be partners with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? بَلْ هُمْ قَوْمٌ يَعْدِلُونَ. No, there are people who make equals. Look at the coordination between the soil and the air, the water and the temperature. That these are all conducive for the growth of plant. Who can do this? It can only be the work of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Nobody else can do it. It's perfect placement. أَمَّنْ جَعَلَ الْأَرْضَ قَرَارًا, or the one who has made the earth as a place of resting. وَجَعَلَ خِلَالَهَا أَنْهَارًا, and he put rivers in it. وَجَعَلَ لَهَا رَوَاسِيَ, and he placed mountains. وَجَعَلَ بَيْنَ الْبَحْرَيْنِ حَاجِزًا, and he placed between the two seas a barrier, meaning he put a barrier between the salt water and the fresh water. Ilahum ma'allah, can there be any ilah besides Allah? Could there anyone do this? Ma'allah, bal aktharuhum la ya'lamun, but most people do not know. Amma yujibu al-muttarra idha da'ahu, and who responds to you when there is distress, when you are in difficult times? وَيَكْشِفُ السُّوءَ, and the one who removes the difficulty. وَيَجْعَلُكُمْ خُلَفَاءَ الْأَرْضِ, and the one who makes you successors and leaders in this earth. Ilahum ma'allah, can there be any God besides Allah, with Allah? قَلِيلًا مَا تَذَكَّرُونَ, how little is what you remember. أَمَّنْ يَهْدِيكُمْ فِي ظُلُمَاتِ الْبَرِّ وَالْبَحْرِ, and he is the one, or is he the one who shows you the ways of in darknesses in the land and in the sea. وَمَنْ يُرْسِلِ الرِّيَاحَ بُشْرًا بَيْنَ يَدَيْ رَحْمَتِهِ, and the one who sends down the wind before he sends down his mercy, the rain. أَإِلَهٌ مَعَ اللَّهِ, can there be any God, any deity with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? تَعَالَى عَمَّا يُشْرِكُونَ, Allah is above whatever you associate. أَمَّنْ يَبْدَأُ الْخَلْقَ ثُمَّ يُعِيدُهُ, or the one who begins the creation and then repeats it. وَمَنْ يَرْزُقُكُم مِّنَ السَّمَاءِ وَالْأَرْضِ, and the one who gives you provisions from the heavens and the earth. أَإِلَهٌ مَعَ اللَّهِ, is there any God with Allah? بَلْ قُلْ هَاتُوا بُرْهَانَكُمْ إِن كُنتُمْ صَادِقِينَ, bring your proofs if you are truthful. These are all proofs for the atheist also, right? The ones who deny God, you can use these arguments, like all of this, who is doing it, right? قُلْ لَا يَعْلَمُ مَنْ فِي السَّمَاوَاتِ وَالْأَرْضِ, say, the ones in the heavens and the earth, they do not know al-ghayb, they do not know the unseen, إِلَّا اللَّهِ, except Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. وَمَا يَشْعُرُونَ أَيَّانَ يُبْعَثُونَ, and they don't realize when they are going to be resurrected. بَلِ ادَّارَكَ عِلْمُهُمْ فِي الْآخِرَةِ, what is the reason? Why are these people, you see the intellectuals, the so-called thinkers, they aren't able to think through this and come to the conclusion that Allah, to Tawheed, to the oneness of Allah. Why? What's the reason? And we know in the past there are many who are sincere, they get to it. But how come a lot today, the scientific community and a lot of the professors and a lot of the intellectual community, so-called intellectual communities, they're not coming to this conclusion of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and God and whatnot? Allah here explains, بَلِ ادَّارَكَ عِلْمُهُمْ فِي الْآخِرَةِ بَلْ هُمْ فِي شَكٍّ مِّنْهَا بَلْ هُمْ مِنْهَا عَمُونَ. 3 reasons. Okay, the reason why they don't reflect over the signs is, number one, they don't know that the hereafter is coming. They have no knowledge about the hereafter, not the God, the hereafter part of it. They don't know that because they didn't get any information about from us, right? That's one. And number two is بَلْ هُمْ فِي شَكٍّ مِّنْهَا. Even if they are presented with these examples and all that, they are in doubt of its authenticity. شَكٍّ مِّنْهَا, they're in doubt of it. They are not sure if it's right. They're in doubt. And number three, بَلْ هُمْ مِنْهَا عَمُونَ. Even if they know, they don't bother to consider it, but prefer to remain blind to it. Amun, they want to remain blind to it. They don't bother. They don't give it a thought. Okay, all of these things add to their disbelief. وَقَالَ الَّذِينَ كَفَرُوا, those people who disbelieve, they say, أَإِذَا كُنَّا تُرَابًا وَأَبَاؤُنَا أَيْنَا لَمُخْرَجُونَ, is it that when we are stone, when we become stones, dust, and even our forefathers have become dust, we're going to be brought back to life? لَقَدْ وُعِدْنَا هَذَا, yes, we were promised this before this. نحن وآباؤنا من قبل, our forefathers were told the same thing. In هذا إلا أساطير الأولين, don't worry, this is just myths of the ancient past. Don't listen to this. قل سيروا في الأرض, go. That's what they think, right? Like, you go and tell these people there's God, existence of God, they will laugh at you, right? Especially in the scientific community, it's just like, it's like almost a fact, okay, that God doesn't exist. That's how they think. So Allah says, so they will say, yeah, this is old people used to say this. Now science has advanced, now you're saying asatir al-awwaleen, just, you're still in the cave, in the olden age. قُلْ سِيرُوا فِي الْأَرْضِ, go and traverse on the land, look around. فَانْظُرُوا كَيْفَ كَانَ عَاقِبَةُ الْمُجْرِمِينَ, look at the end of those criminals. Look at the end of those people who were shown the sign, right? And see what happened when they rejected. And look at the creation, and you'll see that any nation that transgresses is removed. This is the system of the all-wise creator. that anytime there's people transgressing, they're simply removed and a new nation is brought up. Isn't that enough for you? ولا تحزن عليهم, and don't be sad over them. ولا تك في ضيق مما يمكرون, don't distress on the account of what they conspire and plot. ويقولون متى هذا الوعد إن كنتم صادقين, and they say, when is this promise if you are truthful? قل عسى أن يكون ردف لكم بعض الذي تستعجلون. Tell them that perhaps it's really close, is right behind you, some of which you are seeking to hasten is right there for you. وَإِنَّ رَبَّكَ لَذُو فَضْلٍ عَلَى النَّاسِ, but your Rabb is full of grace to mankind, he gives them time. وَلَكِنَّ أَكْثَرَهُمْ لَا يَشْكُرُونَ, but most people do not express gratitude. Allah is giving you time, but you're not showing gratitude and turning to Allah. وَإِنَّ رَبَّكَ لَيَعْلَمُ مَا تُكِنُّ صُدُورُهُم, verily your Rabb, he knows what your chest conceals, what your hearts conceal, he knows about you. وَمَا يُعْلِنُونَ, and whatever you make it apparent. وَمَا مِنْ غَائِبَةٍ فِي السَّمَاءِ وَالْأَرْضِ إِلَّا فِي كِتَابٍ مُبِينٍ, there's nothing that is unseen in the heavens and the earth except that it is written in a clear book. What will happen, what the future holds, everything is written in a clear book. إِنَّ هَذَا الْقُرْآنَ يَقُصُّ عَلَى بَنِي إِسْرَائِيل, this Quran also relates to Bani Israel. It was calling to Bani Israel, inviting Bani Israel to the truth. أكثرهم الذي هم فيه مختلفون أكثر الذي هم فيه يختلفون, but most of them differ in it. وإنه لهدى ورحمة للمؤمنين, verily this Quran, it is indeed a guidance for all mankind and a mercy for the believers. إن ربك يقضي بينهم بحكمه, verily your Lord is going to settle between them, talk and settle their with his decree, meaning he will tell you who is right and who is wrong. وهو العزيز العليم, Allah is almighty and all wise. فتوكل على الله, so rely on Allah. إنك على الحق المبين, verily you are on the truth, so you're on the clear truth, Ya Rasulullah. You are following something with insight, with thought and heart and mind, everything with proofs you're following. You're on the straight path, keep going. إنك لا تسمع الموتى ولا تسمع الصم الدعاء إذا ولوا مدبرين, you cannot make the one who's you cannot make someone who's dead listen to the Quran, and you cannot make the one who's deaf also listen to your call. You can while they're turning away. While they're turning away, you cannot make these people listen. They are dead and they are deaf. وَمَا أَنْتَ بِهَادِ الْعُمْيِ عَنْ ضَلَالَتِهِمْ, you cannot force someone to come out of misguidance. You cannot bring them to guidance. You cannot force them. إِن تُسْمِعُ إِلَّا مَنْ يُؤْمِنُ بِآيَاتِنَا فَهُمْ مُسْلِمُونَ, and only the ones who believe in our signs, only they hear while and they are Muslims. وَإِذَا وَقَعَ الْقَوْلُ عَلَيْهِمْ, and when that calamity falls on them, when that thing that they are وَإِذَا وَقَعَ الْقَوْلُ عَلَيْهِمْ, meaning when nobody is left on this earth. وَإِذَا وَقَعَ الْقَوْلُ عَلَيْهِمْ أَخْرَجْنَا لَهُمْ دَابَّةً مِنَ الْأَرْضِ, we are going to bring out a beast from the earth. Right? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, towards the end of time, this is one of the signs of the day of judgment. Allah says, when that calamity falls right before the day of judgment, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is going to bring a beast from the earth. تُكَلِّمُهُمْ, is going to speak to the people. أَنَّ النَّاسَ كَانُوا بِآيَاتِنَا لَا يُقِنُونَ, it will say that the people where the people did not believe in the signs of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, right? And this Ibn Umar radiallahu anh, he mentions that this beast will come when there is no one in this world who will call people to good and forbid from evil. When the people stop doing the job of the messengers, then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will bring a beast who will do that job and tell the people that you were neglecting that sign, that the hereafter, and you're neglecting Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, right? And so, and there are three signs the Prophet mentions after which faith will not be of any use, meaning tawbah will not be of any use. One is sun rising from the west, and number two is the coming, is the beast, and then the coming of I have to check the third one, sorry. So أن الناس كانوا بآياتنا لا يوقنون إن ويوم نحشر من كل أمة فوجا, on that day we are going to gather every single people, every single nation in groups. ممن يكذب بآياتنا فهم يوزعون, and we're going to group them according to those who have according to the iman. The ones who have disbelieved in our signs, they're going to be set in rows based on their merits. حتى إذا جاءوا, until they come, قال, he will say to them, أكذبتم بآياتي, Did you disbelieve in our signs? وَلَمْ تُحِيطُوا بِهَا عِلْمًا, without having any knowledge? أَمْ مَاذَا كُنْتُمْ تَعْمَلُونَ, or what were you doing? You didn't reject our signs. What were you doing in dunya? وَوَقَعَ الْقَوْلُ عَلَيْهِمْ, and the sentence of punishment will fall on them. بِمَا ظَلَمُوا, the punishment will be given to them because they used to transgress. فَهُمْ لَا يَنْطِقُونَ, and they will not be, and they will not speak. أَلَمْ يَرَوْا أَنَّا جَعَلْنَا اللَّيْلَ لِيَسْكُنُوا فِيهِ وَالنَّهَارَ مُبْصِرًا, isn't it enough sign for you that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has made the night for you to rest, and He has made the day for you to see and for you to move around? وَإِنَّ فِي ذَلِكَ لَآيَاتٍ لِقَوْمٍ يُؤْمِنُونَ, verily in that are many miraculous signs for a nation that has iman. Right? You deny the being that blessed you with night and day. This is the ayah that you see, constantly. Like just a small reflection that I was doing myself. Like when you go out, just imagine you going out right now and seeing, what do you see? Some people might say, I see the sky. Allah says sky is a sign. Who is holding the sky from falling on you? Right? And the sky and the earth will together, Allah separated it. Right? So it's there, and it's like a protection for you. What else do you see? The sun. Allah says, ثُمَّ جَعَلْنَا الشَّمْسَ عَلَيْهِ دَلِيلًا, sun is like a witness for you. We talked about this in Furqan. The sun shows the power of iman and whatnot. Right? Sun moving, Allah moves this. Right? He mentions moon. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala talks about moon. Right? It's the ayah of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It's a sign that points to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Right? What do you see? What else do you see? You might see the mountains. Mountains, Allah says these are وَالْجِبَالَ أَوْتَادًا. Allah has put this. That's also a sign of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You might see the trees. Trees, how many times Allah talks about vegetation, right? Plant life. That's also an ayah. Plants coming out is resurrection, actually, right? It's dead. From the dead, living is coming. And from the living, something dead will come, right? The fruits. So anything you see around you filled with signs. And the biggest sign is night and day, right? Just open your window, just reflect through this, just look at the sky. Just think about the sky. That's more than enough. Allah saying for a nation that has iman. وَيَوْمَ يُنْفَخُ فِي الصُّورِ, the day on which the trumpet is going to be blown. فَفَزِعَ مَنْ فِي السَّمَاوَاتِ وَمَنْ فِي الْأَرْضِ إِلَّا مَنْ شَاءَ اللَّهُ, whoever is in the heavens and the earth is going to be terrified, except for the ones whom Allah willed. They will be saved from that terror. وَكُلٌ أَتَوْهُ دَاخِرِينَ, everyone will come to Allah in utter humility. وَتَرَى الْجِبَالَ تَحْسَبُهَا جَامِدًا, and you would think that the mountains are solid and firm on the ground. وَهِيَ تَمُرُّ مَرَّ السَّحَابِ, even these mountains will be made to sail like clouds. صُنْعَ اللَّهِ الَّذِي أَتْقَنَ كُلَّ شَيْءٍ, this is the work of Allah. Allah can make that as a means to as pegs and make that the strongest thing on the earth, or He can make them into clouds, cotton balls, and make them move and sail if He wants. This is the creation of Allah. He perfects everything. إِنَّهُ خَبِيرٌ بِمَا تَفْعَلُونَ, He is aware of what you all do. مَنْ جَاءَ بِالْحَسَنَةِ, on that day what matters? That even mountain is not kept. So do you think your house will be kept? Do you think your cars will be kept? Do you think your wealth, anything will be kept? Nothing will be kept. Everything will be made to say, will become dust particles. So what will actually help? Allah says, "Man ja'a bil hasana," whoever comes to Allah with a good deed, فَلَهُ خَيْرٌ مِنْهَا, he will have something better than that. Okay, what you have in the hereafter is going to be better and is going to be everlasting. Okay, the reward is going to be better than in this dunya, and it's going to be an everlasting reward. وَهُمْ مِنْ فَزَعٍ يَوْمَئِذٍ آمِنُونَ, and they are the ones who are going to be saved from the terror of that day. وَمَنْ جَاءَ بِالسَّيِّئَةِ, and whoever comes with a bad deed, فَقُبَّتْ وُجُوهُهُمْ فِي النَّارِ, their faces will be overthrown into the fire. هَلْ تُجْزَوْنَ إِلَّا مَا كُنْتُمْ تَعْمَلُونَ, aren't you paid for what you used to do? إِنَّمَا أُمِرْتُ, verily I have been commanded, أَنْ أَعْبُدَ رَبَّ هَذِهِ الْبَلْدَةِ الَّذِي حَرَّمَهَا, I've been commanded to worship the Lord of this town, which He has made it sacred. الذي حرمها وله كل شيء, and to Him everything belongs. وأمرت أن أكون من المسلمين, and I have been commanded to be among the Muslims. وأن أتلو القرآن, and I have been commanded to recite the Quran. فمن اهتدى, and whoever receives guidance, فإنما يهتدي لنفسه, then he is only benefiting himself. ومن ضل, whoever goes away from this, فَقُلْ إِنَّمَا أَنَا مِنَ الْمُنذِرِينَ, then tell them that I only came to warn you, the choice is yours. وَقُلْ, and say, Alhamdulillah, all praise and thanks is for Allah. سَيُرِيكُمْ آيَاتِهِ, He will show you His signs, فَتَعْرِفُونَهَا, and you will recognize it. Every single person will have this moment, well, they will recognize, see this sign, and they will have the opportunity to take it or leave it. فَتَعْرِفُونَهَا وَمَا رَبُّكَ بِغَافِلٍ عَمَّا تَعْمَلُونَ. Allah is not unaware of what you are doing. That when you even reject a sign, Allah knows your heart, and accordingly He will, move your heart. Whatever you are, the way you react to it, that's the way Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will guide you towards guidance or misguidance, inshallah. So may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala allow us to see the signs around us and accept this truth, inshallah. So with that, I think it's a good time to break for Asr. Inshallah, right after Asr, we'll start Qasas. Right? سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك نشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت نستغفرك ونتوب إليك. See you soon. Assalamu alaikum. نتلو عليك من نبأ موسى وفرعون بالحق لقوم يؤمنون. رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقهوا قولي. So Surah al-Qasas is like Surah Yusuf, sorry. Surah Yusuf was talking about Yusuf alayhi salam, and Qasas will be talking about Musa and Fir'aun. And this surah is a supplementary and a complementary to the two previous surahs, Surah ash-Shu'ara and Surah an-Naml. And Qasas means story, okay, narrative. And here Allah is giving the narrative of Musa alayhi salam, Musa versus Fir'aun, truth versus falsehood, humility versus arrogance. And this surah was revealed when the Prophet ﷺ was leaving Mecca. Okay, this when the surah was revealed on his way out. And yeah, so let's get going, inshallah. And the end of the story, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala talks, the end of the surah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala talks about the story of Qarun, and Allah is also showing the difference between humility and arrogance. So humility and arrogance between Musa and Fir'aun, and humility and arrogance of Qarun and his people who didn't have that much wealth. Okay, let's begin. Tasin Mim, only Allah knows these meanings. Tilka ayatul kitab al-mubin. These are the signs of the clear book. Natlu alayka min naba'i Musa wa Fir'aun bilhaq liqawmin yu'minun. We are reciting unto you the story of Musa and Fir'aun with truth for a nation that has iman. Inna Fir'auna la'ala fil ard. Fir'aun was arrogant in the land. وَجَعَلَ أَهْلَهَا شِيَعًا. And he made the people into small groups, divided them into small sects. يَسْتَضْعِفُ طَائِفَةً مِّنْهُمْ. He was oppressing a group of them. And then يُذَبِّحُ أَبْنَاءَهُم. And he used to slaughter their sons, the male babies. وَيَسْتَحْيِي نِسَاءَهُم. And he would let their women folks alive. إِنَّهُ كَانَ مِنَ الْمُفْسِدِينَ. Fir'aun was very bad, mischief maker. وَنُرِيدُ أَن نَّمُنَّ عَلَى الَّذِينَ اسْتُضْعِفُوا فِي الْأَرْضِ. We, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, we wanted to make the weak people strong. وَنَجْعَلَهُمْ أَئِمَّةً. And we wanted to make those weak people leaders. وَنَجْعَلَهُمُ الْوَارِثِينَ. And we wanted them to make inheritors. We wanted them to take over the land of these oppressive people. وَنُمَكِّنَ لَهُمْ فِي الْأَرْضِ. And we established them in the land. وَنُرِيَ فِرْعَوْنَ وَهَامَانَ وَجُنُودَهُمَا. We wanted to show Fir'aun and Haman, who was also the minister who's built, right, civil engineer of Fir'aun and Haman, and both of their armies, مِنْهُمْ مَا كَانُوا يَحْذَرُونَ. We wanted to show them what they were fearing. They were fearing of losing their kingdom, and now we wanted to show them. So that's how the story begins. So, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, this is the intent of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He wants to make the ones who are oppressive, the leaders, and the ones who are leaders, wants to just destroy them. Okay, because of their own mischief, wrong actions. So story begins, وَأَوْحَيْنَا إِلَىٰ أُمِّ مُوسَىٰ أَنْ أَرْضِعِي. And we revealed to the mother of Musa alayhi salam that you should suckle the child. فَإِذَا خِفْتِ عَلَيْهِ. And if you fear that someone would come and attack this child, فَالْقِيهِ فِي الْيَمِّ. Throw this child in the river. وَلَا تَخَافِي وَلَا تَحْزَنِي. Don't be scared, don't grieve. إِنَّ رَادُّهُ إِلَيْكِ وَجَاعِلُوهُ مِنَ الْمُرْسَلِينَ. Allah tells the mother, look mother, I promise you, two promises. Allah gives two promises here. I'm going to return him to you, and I'm going to make him among the messengers. Okay? Trust me, do what I'm telling you. فَالْتَقَطَهُ آلُ فِرْعَوْنَ. And the family of Fir'aun picked him up at the end of that river. لِيَكُونَ لَهُمْ عَدُوًّا وَحَزَنًا. They picked this baby up so that this baby is going to be an enemy and a grief for them, right? إِنَّ فِرْعَوْنَ وَهَامَانَ وَجُنُودَهُمَا كَانُوا خَاطِئِينَ. Fir'aun and Haman and their armies were constantly sinning. right? And so this baby is going to be the baby that's going to harm them that they're picking up right now. وقالت امرأة فرعون قرة عين لي ولك. So the wife of Fir'aun, she looks at it, and Allah talks about this in Surah Taha. Allah put love in the heart of Musa in Asiyah radiallahu anha, and so she says, he is a delight of my eye, coolness of my eyes. Isn't it the case? Fir'aun, look at the baby. First look at the baby, right? And then even Fir'aun had some love for this baby. And then the wife says, لا تقتلوه, don't kill him. You know, I know but you see, you love the baby too, right? You should not kill the baby. عسى أن ينفعنا, perhaps this baby will benefit us. أو نتخذه ولدا, or we can take him as our own son, adopt him as our son. وهم لا يشعرون, but they didn't realize what it was. What's going to happen. وأصبح فؤاد أم موسى فارغا, and the heart of Musa's mother was unoccupied, meaning that she could not think of anything except Musa. It was unoccupied of all the things except Musa. فارغا إن كادت لتبدي به, she would have disclosed him, if she was almost about to disclose him, was going to go out and tell that she lost a son and whatnot. لولا الربطنا عليها, had we not strengthened her heart, لتكون من المؤمنين, she would have been among. So we strengthen her heart so that she becomes among the believers. وقالت لأخته قصي, the mother said to the daughter, you follow him, follow his track. فبصرت به عن جنب, so she observed from a distance where that basket is going. وهم لا يشعرون, and no one realizes. وحرمنا عليه المراضع, and we made the suckling mothers haram on her min qabl. So the baby reaches the palace, and then they were trying to find a stepmother to give milk to this baby, and this baby rejects milk from all the mothers. فقالت هل أدلكم على بيت, so the sister goes into the palace and she speaks to the queen. Queen, should I inform you, should I direct you to a family? There's a nice family I know, أهل بيت يكفلونه لكم, who will take charge of your son, right? The princess. لكم وهم له ناصحون, and he's going to be among his, and they are sincere. I'm a sincere advisor to you. فرددناه إلى أمه كي تقر عينها. Allah says, we restored the baby back to his mother, Musa back to his mother, كي تقر عينها, so that her eyes may be at rest. ولا تحزن, so that the eyes may not grieve. وَلِتَعْلَمْ, so that she knows أَنَّ وَعْدَ اللَّهِ حَقٌّ, that the promise of Allah is true. وَلَكِنَّ أَكْثَرَهُمْ لَا يَعْلَمُونَ, but most people do not know. وَلَمَّا بَلَغَ شُدَّهُ, when Musa attained the age of maturity, وَاسْتَوَى آتَيْنَاهُ حُكْمًا وَعِلْمًا, and when he became well balanced, we gave him judgment and knowledge. The same thing was given to Yusuf alayhi salam. آتَيْنَاهُ حُكْمًا وَعِلْمًا, we gave him judgment and knowledge, the ability to make the right decisions, because young people end up making stupid mistakes and wrong decisions. So he gave him hukm first, and then ilm also on top of it. وَكَذَلِكَ نَجِدُ الْمُحْسِنِينَ, and that is how we reward the righteous people. وَدَخَلَ الْمَدِينَةِ, and then he entered the town, the city of Egypt. حِينَ عَلَى حِينِ غَفْلَةٍ, at the time when the city is quiet, in afternoon time, when people are probably like resting at home and whatnot. فَوَجَدَ فِيهَا رَجُلَيْنِ, he found two men in the streets. يَقْتَتِلَانِ, they were both fighting with each other. هَذَا مِنْ شِيعَتِي وَهَذَا مِنْ عَدُوِّي, one was from his clan, meaning from the Israelites, and the other one was from the Coptic, from the Egyptians. وَهَذَا مِنْ عَدُوِّي, from his enemy. فَاسْتَغَاثَهُ الَّذِي مِنْ شِيعَتِهِ عَلَى الَّذِي مِنْ عَدُوِّي, the one who was from his tribe, right, Israelite, he sought some help from the one who was his enemy. فَوَكَزَهُ مُوسَى, so Musa punched him, and قَضَى عَلَيْهِ, and that man was dead. And he didn't mean to kill him, just like Musa was so strong. قال هذا من عمل الشيطان, says this is the deed of shaitan. إنه عدو مضل مبين, very shaitan is an enemy, clear enemy, who misguides people. قال ربي إني قتلت منهم, قال ربي إني ظلمت نفسي, oh my Rabb, verily I have wronged myself, فاغفر لي, please forgive me. فغفر له, so Allah forgive him. إنه هو الغفور الرحيم, verily he is most forgiving and most merciful. قال ربي, he says, my Rabb, بما أنعمت علي, because you have bestowed a favor on me, فعلي فلن أكون ظهيرا للمجرمين, I'm never going to be a helper of the sinful people. I'm not going to support family and his system, right? Because Allah has forgiven him, gave him this honor, he says, I'm not going to be with Fir'aun and his system, this messed up system, please help me get out of here. فَأَصْبَحَ فِي الْمَدِينَةِ خَائِفًا. So he became in the town fearful, and he was watching because people didn't know who killed that person. So he was like on guard. فَإِذَا الَّذِي اسْتَنْصَرَهُ بِالْأَمْسِ يَسْتَصْرِخُ. And then the one who sought his help the previous day was calling out to him. قَالَ لَهُ مُوسَى إِنَّكَ لَغَوِيٌّ مُبِينٌ. You are a misleading person. You are quite clearly a misleading person. فَلَمَّا أَنْ أَرَادَ أَنْ يَبْطِشَ بِالَّذِي هُوَ عَدُوٌّ لَهُمَا. So this person, the person got into trouble one more time. The same person got into a trouble with another Coptic. And so the Musa goes and trying to help the Israelite again. But then فَلَمَّا أَرَادَ أَنْ يَبْطِشَ بِالَّذِي هُوَ عَدُوٌّ لَهُمَا. When Musa wanted to get hold of the person who was both their enemies, قال يا Musa, that person speaks out, says, يا Musa أتريد أن تقتلني كما قتلت بالأمس? Oh Musa, do you want to kill me like the way you killed that guy from yesterday? And everybody heard this, right? He basically exposed Musa because that guy thought that Musa was going to come and kill him, was going to affect him. So to save him, he was ready to get the other person in trouble. This is the mindset of an enslaved nation. They don't think as a community. They will think about their personal benefit, right? This is the state of the Muslims of that time. They want personal benefit, not for the communal benefit. They will support, they'll try and expose their own brother against, in front of all the people. بالأمس إن تريد إلا أن تكون جبارا في الأرض. Musa, you want to become a tyrant in the land. وما تريد أن تكون من المصلحين. And you're not among those who make peace. وجاء رجل من أقصى المدينة. And everybody came to know this news reached Fir'aun, and he's going to make an army to go and kill Musa alayhi salam. وجاء رجل من أقصى المدينة. And then there came a man from the farthest part of the city. We don't know who it was. يسعى, he came running. He may be from the army of Fir'aun, right? We will study this later on in Surah Ghafir. We'll study about the secret believer in the army of Fir'aun. So this man comes and he says, Ya Musa, innal mala'a ya'tamiruna bik. The leaders are planning against you. لِيَقْتُلُوكَ. So they're trying to kill you. فَخْرُجْ إِنِّي لَكَ مِنَ النَّاصِحِينَ. So get out of here. I'm a sincere well-wisher to you. فَخْرَجَ مِنْهَا خَائِفًا يَتَرَقَّبْ. So he left the city right away. Didn't go home to pick up his bag. Just left like that. No shoes, nothing. Right? No clothing, nothing. He just ran like that. قَالَ رَبِّ نَجِّنِي مِنَ الْقَوْمِ الظَّالِمِينَ. My Lord, save me from the wrongdoing nation. وَلَمَّا تَوَجَّهَ تِلْقَاءَ مَدْيَنَ. So he goes out, he's seeing there's only desert, there's nothing, he doesn't know where to run because anywhere he goes is death. And then he asks Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for help. And then when he faces one direction, at the end of that it was Madian. Allah put an ilham in his mind, in his heart, that maybe this is the right place. Asa Rabbi an yahdini sawa as-sabil. Perhaps Allah will guide me to the right path from here. وَلَمَّا وَرَدَ مَاءَ مَدْيَنَ. When Musa arrived at Madian, وَجَدَ عَلَيْهِ أُمَّةً مِّنَ النَّاسِ. He found near it a group of people, يَسْقُونَ. They were giving drink. They were giving drink to their cattle. وَوَجَدَ مِن دُونِهِمْ امْرَأَتَيْنِ تَذُودَانِ. And he saw right behind this group, there were two women who were trying to keep away from those men. Musa goes to these women and says, مَا خَطْبُكُمَا. What's the matter with you? قَالَتَا لَا نَسْقِي حَتَّى يُصْدِرَ الرِّعَامِ. And they say that we cannot give drink to our shepherds until they leave. وَأَبُونَا شَيْخٌ كَبِيرٌ. And our father is an old man. Okay, so what are they saying? So one thing we see here is that Musa salam talking with the opposite gender, which is completely fine. And that interaction where there's need, there's help, you have to. And women talking with men is completely fine, but with dignity, but not flirting or anything, but upright, straight talks. And so, and they say that they didn't have a lengthy conversation. You see, this we can't give drink because they're there, and our father's old. So you don't come near us. Our father, we have a father, so he's gonna, just like kick you. So be careful, right? So Abuna Shaykhun Kabir. And what they're also saying is that, why are they saying Abuna Shaykhun Kabir? Because they didn't want Musa to have a bad impression about the men of their household. Because Musa might think, what happened to your men? Why are you both ladies alone here? And he might think bad about the men, so they say that he's old, so don't have bad opinions about him. And so he gave them the drink, and ثُمَّ تَوَلَّى. Look how quick that is. He goes, give them the drink, helps those sheep to get in there, gives them the drink, and returns the sheep back to them, and he goes back to the shade. إلى الظل فقال ربي, he says, ربي إني لما أنزلت إلي من خير فقير. Oh Lord, with whatever you have sent me down, I'm in need of it. With whatever you have, I'm in need of this. And when people are in need, this is a dua to make. Okay, when you lose a job, when you don't have home to stay, when when you're not married, when you don't have children or anything like that, any provision you don't have, you make this dua, and then inshallah Allah will facilitate things for you. So he says, he makes his dua, Ya Allah, I'm in need of whatever you send me down. فَجَاءَتْ إِحْدَاهُمَا تَمْشِي عَلَى اسْتِحْيَاءٍ. Then one of the two women, she comes walking shyly, istihya, shyly. Contrast this with Yusuf alayhi salam, right? How the wife of the Aziz, how she was, and how these women are. Istihya'in, she comes walking shyly, modestly, and shyly she speaks. Istihya'in qalat, with modesty, she speaks to Musa alayhi salam. She says, inna abi yad'uka liyajziyaka ajra ma saqayta lana. Verily, my father is calling you to reward you for the drink, for what you helped us yesterday. فَلَمَّا جَاءَهُ, and when he came to him, وَقَصَّ عَلَيْهِ الْقَصَص, and he told him the story, and Musa came to his father and he told him exactly what happened. قَالَ لَا تَخَفْ, the father says, don't be scared. نَجَوْتَ مِنَ الْقَوْمِ الظَّالِمِينَ, you have escaped from the transgressing people. Don't worry, you can stay here. He makes this dua, what happened? So actually move on and I'll tell you. قَالَتْ إِحْدَاهُمَا يَا أَبَتِ اسْتَأْجِرْ. So one of the two women said, yeah, oh my father, hire him, keep him, right? Hire him. And the father understood that to be a hint that this daughter wants to marry Musa alayhi salam. And then she goes on to say, oh father, inna khayra man istajarta al-qawiyyu al-amin, the best person who you can hire is the one who's strong and trustworthy, right? Hire him means get him married to one of us so that he becomes a mahram and he stays with us and takes care of it, and he's strong and trustworthy. قال إني أريد, immediately the father says to Musa salam, O Musa, إني أريد أن أنكحك إحدى بنتي هاتين. Indeed, I intend to marry one of my daughters to you. Look, Musa doesn't have a job. He's like nobody. But he had what? He was strong. He was trustworthy. These are the qualities that fathers should be looking for when they're getting their daughters married, right? And this is a quality. These are the qualities that men should be looking in the women, of shyness and modesty. And this is a quality that women should be looking in the men, of strength, trustworthiness, and gentleness, right? Gentlemen. So it says, I intend to marry one of my daughters to you, ala an ta'jurani thamaniya hijaj, but you have to promise me that you will give 8 years of service to me. But atmamta ashran, but if you give complete 10 years, فَمِنْ عِنْدِكَ, then that is up to you. وَمَا أُرِيدُ أَنْ أَشُقَّ عَلَيْكَ, I don't intend to make things difficult on you. سَتَجِدُنِي إِنْ شَاءَ اللَّهُ مِنَ الصَّالِحِينَ, inshallah you will find me among the righteous. قَالَ ذَلِكَ بَيْنِي وَبَيْنَكَ, Musa says, that is the agreement between you and me. أَيَّمَا الْأَجَلَيْنِ, whichever of the two terms, 8 or 10, قَضَيْتُ, I'll complete it. فَلَا عُدْوَانَ عَلَيْهِ, there will be no enmity will be against me. Wallahu ala ma naqul wakil, I have no problem doing any of this. I won't mind. And Allah is ala ma naqul wakil, with whatever I say, He is my trustee, He is my guardian, I trust this. So what happened? He makes this dua, he gets a job, he gets a home, and he gets married, and he has everything, whatever he needs, right? SubhanAllah. فَلَمَّا قَضَى مُوسَى الْأَجْرَ, and when Musa completed the term, and the Prophet says he completed 10 years actually. وَسَارَ بِأَهْلِهِ, and he was traveling with his family. آنَسَ مِنْ جَانِبِ الطُّورِ نَارًا, he perceived fire from the side of a mountain. قَالَ لِأَهْلِهِ امْكُثُوا إِنِّي آنَسْتُ نَارًا, he says to his family, wait here, I see some fire. لَعَلِّي آتِيكُم مِّنْهَا بِخَبَرٍ, maybe I'll bring you some news, some news from there, some directions from there. أَوْ جَذْوَةٍ مِنَ النَّارِ, or I'll get a burning log of fire. لَعَلَّكُمْ تَصْطَلُونَ, so that you may keep yourself warm. فَلَمَّا أَتَاهَا, when he came to that valley, نُودِيَ مِنْ شَاطِئِ الْوَادِ الْأَيْمَنِ, he was called from the right side of the valley. في البقعة المباركة, in the blessed spot. من شجرة, from the tree this voice came. أن يا موسى, O Musa, إني أنا الله رب العالمين, verily I am Allah, the Lord of all beings. وأن ألقي عصاك, remove your وأن ألقي عصاك, and throw your stick. فلما رآها تهتز, and when he saw the staff moving, كأنها جان, it was as if it was a serpent. وَلَّا مُدْبِرًا, and he started running away from that. وَلَمْ يُعَقِّبْ, and he did not and did not pursue. Ya Musa, O Musa, أَقْبِلْ وَلَا تَخَفْ, go ahead and do not be scared. أقبل ولا تخف, turn and don't be scared. إنك من الآمنين, verily you are safe and secure. أسلك يدك في جيبك, enter your hand in your pocket. تخرج بيضاء من غير سوء, it will come out white without any blemish. واضم إليك جناحك من الرهب, and draw to you your arms against fear. فذلك برهانان من ربك إلى فرعون وملئه, these are the two proofs from your Lord to Fir'aun and his people. إنهم كانوا قوما فاسقين, verily they are people who were constantly sinning. قال ربي إني قتلت منهم نفسا فأخاف أن يقتلون, my Lord, I have killed a person from them, so I fear that they will kill me. وأخي هارون هو أفصح مني لسانا, and my brother Harun, he is better than me in speech. فأرسله معي رِدْءًا, so why don't you send him with me as a helper. يصدقني, he will be with me. إني أخاف أن يكذبون, I fear that they will disbelieve in me. قال, so Allah says, سنشد عضدك بأخيك, we will strengthen you, your arm, by your brother. وَنَجْعَلُ لَكُمَا سُلْطَانًا, and we will make both of you an authority against them. فَلَا يَصِلُونَ إِلَيْكُمَا, so that they will not get at you, they will not attack you. You are going to be and for reinforcing each other. بِآيَاتِنَا أَنْتُمَا وَمَنِ اتَّبَعَكُمُ الْغَالِبُونَ, with our signs, you two and those who follow are going to be victorious. فَلَمَّا جَاءَهُمْ مُوسَى بِآيَاتِنَا بَيِّنَاتٍ, when Musa alayhi salam came to them with our clear proofs, قالوا, they said, ما هذا إلا سحر مفترى, this is just a sorcery that they have made up. ما سمعنا بهذا في آبائنا الأولين, we never heard this with our forefathers, such kinds of claims of prophethood. وقال Musa says, Rabbi a'lamu biman ja'a bil huda, my Lord knows, he is more aware as to who has come with guidance. Min indi, my Lord is best aware as to who has come with guidance from him. وَمَن تَكُونُ لَهُ عَاقِبَةُ الدَّارِ, and my Lord knows who is going to have Jannah, the ultimate abode in the hereafter. إِنَّهُ لَا يُفْلِحُ الظَّالِمُونَ, the transgressors are never going to be successful. وَقَالَ فِرْعَوْنَ, so Fir'aun said, يَا أَيُّهَا الْمَلَأ, O the chiefs, مَا عَلِمْتُ لَكُمْ مِنْ إِلَهٍ غَيْرِي, I don't know of any gods for you besides me. فَأَوْقِدْ لِي يَا هَامَانَ, O Haman, make for me, set fire for me, على الطين, on clay. Right, so the meaning, make bricks for me using this على الطين. فجعل لي صرحا, and make me a tower. لعلي أطلع إلى إله موسى وإني لأظنه من الكاذبين, let me go up, make a tower up to the sky, let me go up and peek and see, I think, look at the God of Musa, I think he is lying, right? Because Musa went up to the mountain and he spoke with God, so he wants to also go up somewhere and speak with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So make something for me. وَاسْتَكْبَرَ هُوَ وَجُنُودُهُ فِي الْأَرْضِ, he turned arrogant and his army in the land. بِغَيْرِ حَقٍّ, him and his army turned arrogant in the land without any right. وَظَنُّوا أَنَّهُمْ إِلَيْنَا لَا يُرْجَعُونَ, and they thought that they will not come back to us. فَأَخَذْنَاهُ وَجُنُودَهُ فَنَبَذْنَاهُمْ فِي الْيَمِّ, we seized him and his army and we threw them in the sea. فَانْظُرْ كَيْفَ كَانَ عَاقِبَةُ الظَّالِمِينَ, look at the end of the wrongdoers. وَجَعَلْنَاهُمْ أَئِمَّةً يَدْعُونَ إِلَى النَّارِ, we made them leaders calling to the fire. Whoever followed them, they're going to be the leaders and they're going to be calling people towards the fire. Come people, I was your leader in dunya, let me take you to a new place today, to Jahannam. وَيَوْمَ الْقِيَامَةِ لَا يُنصَرُونَ, and they will not be helped on the day of judgment. وَاتْبَعْنَاهُمْ فِي هَذِهِ الدُّنْيَا لَعْنًا, and they will have their curse in this dunya. وَيَوْمَ الْقِيَامَةِ هُمْ مِنَ الْمَقْبُوحِينَ, and on the day of judgment they will be made ugly. وَلَقَدْ آتِينَا مُوسَى الْكِتَابَ مِنْ بَعْدِ مَا أَهْلَكْنَا الْقُرُونَ الْأُولَى, and indeed we gave Musa alayhi salam the book after we had destroyed the previous generations, as what? بَصَائِرَ لِلنَّاسِ, this book was an enlightenment for the people. وَهُدًى وَرَحْمَةً, is a guidance and mercy. لَعَلَّهُمْ يَتَذَكَّرُونَ, so that they may take a lesson from that. وَمَا كُنْتَ بِجَانِبِ الْغَرْبِ, you, Ya Rasulullah, you were not there on the western side of this, meaning you were not there when Musa went up to the mountain. إِذْ قَضَيْنَا إِلَى مُوسَى الْأَمْرِ, when we had decreed to Musa, you were not present. وَمَا كُنْتَ مِنَ الشَّاهِدِينَ, and you were not of those who were witnessing and seeing this. وَلَكِنَّا أَنْشَأْنَا قُرُونًا, and we had brought into being generations. وَطَالَ عَلَيْهِمُ الْعُمُرُ, and a long time passed over them. وَمَا كُنْتَ ثَاوِيًا فِي أَهْلِ مَدْيَنَ, and you were not there when you were receiving revelation to be informed. في أهل مدين تتلو عليهم آياتنا. So Allah is telling that all of this is proving prophethood because you were not present there, Ya Rasulullah, and we are the ones who are reciting on to you. وَلَكِنَّا كُنَّا مُرْسِلِينَ, and we have been mursilin, the ones who are sending the messengers all along. وَمَا كُنْتَ بِجَانِبِ الطُّورِ, nor were you by the side of the mountain, إِذْ نَادَيْنَا, when we called out to Musa, وَلَكِنْ رَحْمَةً مِّن رَبِّكَ لِتُنذِرَ قَوْمًا مَّا أَتَاهُمْ, but it is a mercy of your Lord that you may warn a people to whom مَا أَتَاهُم مِّن نَذِيرٍ, to whom a warner has not come. That we have sent you as a messenger and you're a mercy to them because a warner has not come to them, مِن قَبْلِكَ لَعَلَّهُمْ يَتَذَكَّرُونَ, so that they may take a lesson. وَلَوْلَا أَن تُصِيبَهُم مُّصِيبَةٌ, why and if not, so why not when a musibah falls on them, بما قدمت أيديهم, because of what they have done, فيقولوا ربنا لولا أرسلت إلينا رسولا. So we are showing, Allah is saying that we are showing this so that when the punishment comes, we're showing you all of these things and mention this in the Quran again and again and again. The story Musa has brought. So you don't say on the day of judgment, when the punishment comes, you don't say that that we never got a message. And you should never say that it is shown to you what was the end of these people. رَبَّنَا لَوْلَا أَرْسَلْتَ إِلَيْنَا رَسُولًا فَنَتَّبِعَ آيَاتِكَ وَنَكُونَ الْمُؤْمِنِينَ. So we're showing you this so that people don't say that a messenger did not come with any message. If a messenger would have come, would have been among the believers. فَلَمَّا جَاءَهُمُ الْحَقُّ مِنْ عِنْدِنَا, but when the messengers did come from us, قالوا, they said, لَوْلَا أُوتِيَ مِثْلَ مَا أُوتِيَ مُوسَى, they said, how come you, Ya Rasulullah, don't have what Musa got? You're claiming to be a prophet. How come we don't see the miracles of Musa, like sea splitting, and can you show us some of that? أَوَلَمْ يَكْفُرُوا بِمَا أُوتِيَ مُوسَى مِنْ قَبْلِ, Allah saying, don't you actually disbelieve in Musa itself? Like, yeah, okay, so you want the ayat of Musa, but you don't even accept Musa. Why? The same miracles came, so accept Musa first. If you accept Musa, automatically you'll accept me. So Allah says, أَوَلَمْ يَكْفُرُوا بِمَا أُوتِيَ مُوسَى مِنْ قَبْلِ قَالُوا سِحْرَانِ تَظَاهَرَا, they said these are two sorcerers that are supporting each other. وَقَالُوا إِنَّا بِكُلٍّ كَافِرُونَ, and we are disbelievers we are in each one of them disbelievers. قُلْ فَأْتُوا بِكِتَابٍ مِّنْ عِنْدِ اللَّهِ, they say, bring a book from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, بِكِتَابٍ مِّنْ عِنْدِ اللَّهِ هُوَ أَهْدَى مِنْهُمَا أَتَّبِعْهُ إِن كُنْتُمْ صَادِقِينَ. Bring a book from Allah that is a better guide than the two. I shall follow it if you are truthful. فَإِن لَّمْ يَسْتَجِيبُوا لَكَ, and if they don't respond to it, فَعْلَمْ, meaning Allah is telling them, bring a book from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that is better than the Quran and better than what Musa got. And if إِلَّمْ يَسْتَجِيبُوا لَكَ, and if they don't respond to you, Rasulullah, فَعْلَمْ أَنَّمَا يَتَّبِعُونَ أَهْوَاءَهُم, know that they're just following their desires, whims and desires. وَمَنْ أَضَلُّ مِمَّنِ اتَّبَعَ هَوَاهُ بِغَيْرِ هُدًى مِّنَ اللَّهِ, and who can be more worst than the one who follows his desires without any guidance from Allah? Inna Allah la yahdi al-qawm al-zalimin, Allah does not guide a transgressing nation. وَلَقَدْ وَصَّلْنَا لَهُمُ الْقَوْلَ لَعَلَّهُمْ يَتَذَكَّرُونَ, and indeed we have delivered them the Quran that they may take remembrance, that they may take a lesson from that. الَّذِينَ آتِينَاهُمُ الْكِتَابَ مِنْ قَبْلِهِ هُمْ بِهِ يُؤْمِنُونَ, the people of the book who came before you, they are the ones, they believe in it. وَإِذَا يُتْلَى عَلَيْهِمْ, and when the ayat are recited unto them, قَالُوا آمَنَّا بِهِ, they say that we have believed in it. إِنَّهُ الْحَقُّ مِنْ رَبِّنَا, verily this is the truth from our Rabb. إِنَّا كُنَّا مِنْ قَبْلِهِ مُسْلِمِينَ, and we have been before this Muslims. أُولَٰئِكَ يُؤْتَوْنَ أَجْرَهُمْ مَرَّتَيْنِ, those are the ones we're going to reward them twice. Why? Because of they approved what the previous they approved. They confirmed the scriptures of the past and they followed the messenger, so they will get double the reward. Okay, they believed in the books given to them, and again they believe in the Quran. أَجْرَهُمْ مَرَّتَيْنِ بِمَا صَبَرُوا, because of their patience. وَيَدْرَؤُونَ بِالْحَسَنَةِ السَّيِّئَةِ, and he will ward off the good. He will ward off with the good the evil. Right? He will ward off the evil with the good. وَمِمَّا رَزَقْنَاهُمْ يُنْفِقُونَ, and from what we have provided them, they spend. وَإِذَا سَمِعُوا اللَّغْوَ, so the reason why they're rewarded is because of their patience, because they follow up a bad deed with a good deed, and they spend from what Allah has given. وَإِذَا سَمِعُوا اللَّغْوَ, and when they hear a vain talk, أَعْرَضُوا عَنْهُ, So they turn away from it. وَقَالُوا, they say, لَنَا أَعْمَالُنَا وَلَكُمْ أَعْمَالُكُمْ, for us is our deeds and for you is your deeds. سَلَامٌ عَلَيْكُمْ لَا نَبْتَغِي الْجَاهِلِينَ, peace be upon you. We don't want to argue. We don't seek to be among the ignorant ones. We are Ibadur Rahman. إِنَّكَ لَا تَهْدِي مَنْ أَحْبَبْتَ, verily you cannot guide the one whom you want. وَلَكِنَّ اللَّهَ يَهْدِي مَنْ يَشَاءُ, however Allah guides whomever He wills. وَهُوَ أَعْلَمُ بِالْمُهْتَدِينَ, and He is best aware of the ones who are the recipients of guidance. So this ayah was revealed when the Prophet ﷺ could not, convert his own uncle Abu Talib into Islam. Abu Talib was a supporter of the Prophet ﷺ, but he could not accept the message of the Prophet ﷺ. So the Prophet really, really cried, and Allah says that you don't guide whom you want. It is us we guide. We know who should receive guidance. وَقَالُوا, and they say, إِنَّ نَتَّبِعُ الْهُدَى مَعَكَ نُتَخَطَّفْ مِنْ أَرْضِنَا. They say that if we follow you, Ya Rasulullah, in guidance, then we would have been destroyed. Our economy would collapse. Right? نتخطف من أرضنا, our economy, because Mecca was the center of international trade. Right? People would come, and if you denounce these idols, there's going to be a big hit on the economy. We will not follow you. أَوَلَمْ نُمَكِّنْ لَهُمْ حَرَمًا آمِنًا يُجْبَى, and did we not establish for them a safe sanctuary, the house itself, يُجْبَى إِلَيْهِ ثَمَرَاتُ كُلِّ شَيْءٍ, which was a center of trade for them, that we are the ones who put that house there, and because of that it became the center of trade. وَرَزَقْنَاهُمْ مِنْ لَدُنَّا وَلَكِنَّ أَكْثَرَهُمْ لَا يَعْلَمُونَ, but most people do not know. It's we who gave you in the first place. وَكَمْ أَهْلَكْنَا مِنْ قَرْيَةٍ بَطِرَتْ مَعِيشَتَهَا, and how many nations we have destroyed because they were ungrateful for their livelihood. That's something we got to write this down somewhere. Highlight this, keep it. But we should always reflect over it. How many nations we have destroyed because they were ungrateful for their livelihood, for what Allah has given them. فَتِلْكَ مَسَاكِنُهُمْ, those are the inhabitants. لَمْ تُسْكَمْ مِنْ بَعْدِهِمْ إِلَّا قَلِيلًا, none of that remained except for very little. Everything was destroyed. وَكُنَّا نَحْنُ الْوَارِثِينَ, and we are the ones who inhabit everything at the end. وَمَا كَانَ رَبُّكَ مُهْلِكَ الْقُرَى, and Allah is not going to destroy any nation حَتَّى يَبْعَثَ فِي أُمِّهَا رَسُولًا, until Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sends a messenger in the metropolis, right? In the center, in the main cities, Allah is going to send the messengers, right? If Allah were to send a messenger to Canada, they would come to Toronto, like the hub city, main city will come, and Allah says He will send them to that. رَسُولًا يَتْلُو عَلَيْهِمْ آيَاتِنَا, reciting our ayats to them. وَمَا كُنَّا مُهْلِكِ الْقُرَى إِلَّا وَأَهْلُهَا ظَالِمُونَ, and we never destroy any nation except that they are transgressors, they are wrongdoers. وَمَا أُوتِيتُم مِّن شَيْءٍ فَمَتَاعُ الْحَيَاةِ الدُّنْيَا, and whatever you have been given, this is from the beautification of this worldly life, and zinatuha. This is a small enjoyment of this worldly life and adornment of this worldly life. وَمَا عِنْدَ اللَّهِ خَيْرٌ وَأَبْقَى, what is with Allah is better and everlasting. These two terms, I want you guys to always keep this in mind. Anytime you enjoy any blessing in this dunya, always remember that what is with Allah is going to be better than this, and it's going to be everlasting. I make this dua when I take a sip of ice cap, the first ice cap. I know it's not a good time to talk about ice cap, and everyone will rush to Tim Hortons. That's okay. Quran lesson, guys. So when you take the first sip of ice cap, like after you're really, really thirsty, you take that, like you feel like, what I mean? That happiness. Right at that moment, you tell Allah, you tell yourself, what is with Allah is better than this. Allah will give me like an ice cap of Jannah that's gonna like blow my mind. It's gonna be better, and it's gonna be everlasting, because this ice cap will run out in few sips. Okay, so that will be everlasting. Khayrun wa abqa. Everything that you enjoy in this dunya, say that what is with Allah is better and everlasting. Afala ta'qilun. Why don't you understand? أَفَمَنْ وَعَدْنَاهُ وَعْدًا حَسَنًا. The one is the one whom we have given a good promise. فَهُوَ لَاقِيهِ, and he will receive it. كَمَنْ مَتَّعْنَاهُ مَتَاعَ الْحَيَاةِ الدُّنْيَا. The one who is given a good promise of the hereafter, and he gets Jannah. Can that person be equal to the one who got the luxuries of this dunya? Can they both be equal? ثُمَّ هُوَ يَوْمَ الْقِيَامَةِ مِنَ الْمُحْضَرِينَ, and he will be on the day of judgment of those who will be brought along for trial. Right? The ones who are given the thing in this dunya, he's going to be brought for trial, and he'll be questioned. Is that person better, or is the one whom Allah has promised Jannah in the hereafter? وَيَوْمَ يُنَادِيهِمْ, on that day, يُنَادِيهِمْ, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will summon them, will call them. فيقول, he will tell them, أين شركائي الذين كنتم تزعمون? Where are those partners of mine which you used to assume? قال الذين حق عليهم القول, and they will say, حق عليهم القول, the sentence has become due. ربنا هؤلاء الذين أغوينا. Okay, the people on whom the punishment has become due, they will say, Rabbana, our Lord, هؤلاء الذين أغوينا. These are the ones who have misled us. أغويناهم, they have misled us. كما غوينا, and we had gone astray. They misled us and we just gone astray. تبرأنا إليك, we ask you for your innocence. We plead guilty, Ya Allah. وما كنا وما كانوا إيانا يعبدون, and it is you alone that we worship. وَقِيلَ دُعُوا شُرَكَاءَكُمْ, and it will be said to them, call your partners, فَدَعَوْهُمْ, and call them, فَلَمْ يَسْتَجِيبُوا لَهُمْ, and they will not respond to you. وَرَأُوا الْعَذَابَ, and they will see the punishment. لَوْ أَنَّهُمْ كَانُوا يَهْتَدُونَ, and they will say, if only they followed guidance. وَيَوْمَ يُنَادِيهِمْ, on that day he will call them, فَيَقُولُ, and he will say, مَاذَا أَجَبْتُمُ الْمُرْسَلِينَ, what was the reply you gave to the messengers? فَعَمِيَتْ عَلَيْهِمُ الْأَنْبَاءُ يَوْمَئِذٍ فَهُمْ لَا يَتَسَاءَلُونَ, no one will answer, or they will ask each other. فَأَمَّا مَنْ تَابَ وَآمَنَ وَعَمِلَ صَالِحًا, as for the one who repents and does righteous deeds, فَعَسَىٰ أَنْ يَكُونَ مِنَ الْمُفْلِحِينَ, and perhaps he might be among the successful ones. وَرَبُّكَ يَخْلُقُ مَا يَشَاءُ وَيَخْتَارُ, and your Lord is the one who creates whomever he wills, and he chooses whomever he wills to be his messengers. وَمَا كَانَ لَهُمُ الْخِيَرَةُ, it is not you to make the choice who should become the messenger. Subhanallah wa ta'ala amma yushrikun, glory to Allah, and exalted is he above what you all associate. وَرَبُّكَ يَعْلَمُ مَا تُكِنُّ صُدُورُهُمْ وَمَا يُعْلِنُونَ, and your Lord knows what the heart conceals and what you disclose. وَهُوَ اللَّهُ لَا إِلَهَ إِلَّا هُ, He is Allah, there's no one worthy of worship except Him. لَهُ الْحَمْدُ فِي الْأُولَى وَالْآخِرَةِ, to Him belongs the praise in the first and in the hereafter. وَلَهُ الْحُكْمُ, to Him belongs that final decision. وَإِلَيْهِ تُرْجَعُونَ, and you're going to return to Him. قُلْ أَرَأَيْتُمْ, tell them, don't you see, إِنْ جَعَلَ اللَّهُ عَلَيْكُمُ اللَّيْلَ سَرْمَدًا, if Allah were to make the night like that forever, sarmadan, never coming to an end, endlessly, إِلَى يَوْمِ الْقِيَامَةِ, until the day of judgment, مَنْ إِلَهٌ غَيْرُ اللَّهِ يَأْتِيكُمْ بِالضِّيَاءِ, if there was night throughout until the day of judgment, who would have brought you light? أَفَلَا تَسْمَعُونَ, why don't you listen and pay attention and think? قُلْ أَرَأَيْتُمْ, tell them, don't you see, إِنْ جَعَلَ اللَّهُ عَلَيْكُمُ النَّهَارَ سَرْمَدًا, if Allah were to make the day endless until the day of judgment, إِلَى يَوْمِ الْقِيَامَةِ, مَنْ إِلَهٌ غَيْرُ اللَّهِ يَأْتِيكُمْ بِلَيْلٍ تَسْكُنُونَ فِيهِ, who would have brought the night where you could have rested? أَفَلَا تُبْصِرُونَ, why don't you see? وَمِنْ رَحْمَتِهِ جَعَلَ لَكُمُ اللَّيْلَ وَالنَّهَارَ, it is from the mercy of Allah that He makes night and day, لِتَسْكُنُوا فِيهِ وَلِتَبْتَغُوا مِنْ فَضْلِهِ, so that you could rest in the night and you could seek Allah's bounties, earn the means of livelihood during the daytime. لَعَلَّكُمْ تَشْكُرُونَ وَلَعَلَّكُمْ تَشْكُرُونَ, so that you may be grateful. وَيَوْمَ يُنَادِيهِمْ, on that day He will call out to them, فَيَقُولُ, and He will say, أَيْنَ شُرَكَائِي الَّذِينَ كُنْتُمْ تَزْعُمُونَ, where are those partners of mine that you used to assume? وَنَزَعْنَا مِنْ كُلِّ أُمَّةٍ شَهِيدٍ, Allah says, we'll take out from them a witness from every single community. وَقُلْنَا, we will say, هَاتُوا بُرْهَانَكُمْ, prove that the shirk is true. هَاتُوا بُرْهَانَكُمْ, prove that these gods you created, these are actually gods, they fit the description of the God. هَاتُوا بُرْهَانَكُمْ فَعَلِمُوا أَنَّ الْحَقَّ لِلَّهِ, they will know that the truth belongs to Allah. وَضَلَّ عَنْهُمْ مَا كَانُوا يَفْتَرُونَ, whatever they used to make up, everything will be lost. إِنَّ قَارُونَ, final passage inshallah. إِنَّ قَارُونَ كَانَ مِنْ قَوْمِ مُوسَى, Qarun, verily Qarun, he was from the nation of Musa alayhi salam. And we know Qarun is a cousin of Musa alayhi salam, and he memorized Torah. He memorized Torah. He was Hafizul Torah, and he did not want to give zakah. And he was very rich, and he used to think that he's better than others. And you know, this kind of attitude, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala save us from this. It is there in some of the Hufaz today. A lot of Hufaz, they think, I am great. You know, I'm Hafiz al-Quran. They look down upon the people who don't have this, and I've seen this with my own eyes. Just because you have memorized does not mean anything. And people have seen Hufaz who have left the fold of Islam. Why? Because Hafiz does not mean anything if there's no understanding of that book. Okay, and this was a crime of Bani Israel against their book. They would just memorize, forget about it. They'll forget it, don't pay any attention to fixing the akhlaq, getting better. No, nothing like that. So Qarun was from the nation of Musa alayhi salam. فَبَغَى عَلَيْهِمْ, and he wronged against them. وَآتَيْنَاهُ مِنَ الْكُنُوزِ, and we gave him the treasures. ما إن مفاتحه لتنوء بالعصبة أولي القوة. His treasures was so heavy that it had to be carried by men of strength. Right? Few men have to carry this, just the key to open the door for his treasure. Men have to carry it. That's how heavy his keys were. You can imagine how big and how much wealth he was given. In إذ قال له قومه لا تفرح, when his people told Qarun, don't لا تفرح, don't be exalted, don't be arrogant, don't be delighted like that out of pride. إن الله لا يحب الفرحين, verily Allah does not like the ones who have arrogance. وَبِالدَّغِ فِيمَا آتَاكَ اللَّهُ الدَّارَ الْآخِرَةَ, and seek with what Allah has given you the home of the hereafter. وَلَا تَنْسَ نَصِيبَكَ مِنَ الدُّنْيا, do not forget your share in this life. Do not forget your share in this life, that you have a portion. Just because Allah gave you all of this does not mean it's all yours. Just because you have free water doesn't mean you can open the water and take shower as you like. There's take your portion only, take the limited that you need and leave the rest. وَلَا تَنْسَ نَصِيبَكَ مِنَ الدُّنْيا وَأَحْسِنْ كَمَا أَحْسَنَ اللَّهُ إِلَيْكَ, be the best, excel like the way Allah has been the best to you. Look, Allah has given you wealth, so now you should be the best and give wealth right and left, because Allah has been the best. Whatever Allah gave you, you give it back to Allah. Be the best, just like Allah has been the best to you. وَلَا تَبِغِ الْفَسَادَ فِي الْأَرْضِ, do not cause corruption. When you and me learn the book of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, when you and me have the knowledge of the Quran, if you don't act with ihsan, with excellence, even little bit of change here and there, a small mistake, that will cause corruption in the land, because people will say, these are the Muslims, I don't want to be among these Muslims. They have, they don't even know how to stand in the line. Look at them. Because other people will turn away from Islam, they will cause corruption. Ahsan, be the best you can and don't cause corruption. Inna Allah la yuhibbul mufsidin. Verily Allah does not like the mischief makers. قَالَ إِنَّمَا أُوتِيتُهُ عَلَىٰ عِلْمٍ عِنْدِي. He says, this wealth I have been given because of my own knowledge. عِلْمٍ عِنْدِي. I got degree. I went, which university I went. You know what my GPA was? I got such a high position. That's why I'm living a good life. علم عندي أولم يعلم, doesn't he know أن الله قد أهلك من قبلي, doesn't he know that Allah destroyed before him من القرون, many generations, من هو أشد منه قوة وأكثر جماعة, that there were many generations before him who were much stronger and much more, they had much more than what he has. Okay, and so doesn't he know Allah destroyed them for saying like this? ولا يسأل عن ذنوبهم المجرمين, and the criminals will not be asked about their sins, they will be destroyed. فخرج على قومه في زينته, he came out in front of his people showing off, showing his beautification and grandeur, and showing how much wealth he has. قال الذين يريدون الحياة الدنيا, the people who desired this worldly life, they said, Ya laytalana misla ma utiya Qarun. Oh my God, look at Qarun, how much he has. I wish I had a house like that. I wish I drove a car like that. Ma utitum misla ma utiya Qarun, innahu ladu hazzin azim. Verily, he is a possessor, owner of a great fortune. وقال الذين أوتوا العلم, the ones who had the knowledge, ويلكم ثواب الله, woe to you, Allah's reward is better for you. لمن آمن وعمل صالحا, you can get better than this if you have iman and righteous deeds. ولا يلقاها إلا الصابرون, and no one is granted that except the ones who are patient. فخسفنا به وبداره الأرض, we sunk him and his place of dwelling into the earth. His wealth, everything with him, everything was sucked into the earth. فَمَا كَانَ لَهُ مِنْ فِيَةٍ يَنْصُرُونَ, he had no one to help him besides Allah min dunillah. وَمَا كَانَ مِنَ الْمُنْتَصِرِينَ, and he was of those nor was he of those helping themselves, and nor could he help himself. وَأَصْبَحَ الَّذِينَ تَمَنَّوْا مَكَانًا, and the people who yearned to be in his place yesterday, بِالْأَمْسِ يَقُولُونَ, they said, وَيْكَأَنَّ اللَّهَ, oh my God, Allah يَبْسُطُ الرِّزْقَ لِمَنْ يَشَاءُ مِنْ عِبَادِهِ وَيَقْدِرُ, Allah gives provision to whomever he wants amongst his servants, and he restricts it. It is not because of your knowledge that you have. It is not because you were born in that family. It's not, none of that. People who have more knowledge than anyone here and they're still poor, and people who don't have the who are dropouts from school and they have so much knowledge. Allah gives whomever He wants. Education is not linked with your job. Keep this in mind. Allah gives rizq, and job does not mean rizq. Allah gives. You might have the best job, still not have rizq, right? You may not have any job, and still Allah gives you rizq, right? So quarantine is the best time. People don't have job, but still they're having rizq. Allah provides, right? So Allah says, so لولا أن من الله علينا لخسف بنا. Those people say, had Allah did not favor us, we would have been among those who are also sunk, who have been sucked into the earth. وَيْكَأَنَّهُ لَا يُفْلِحُ الْكَافِرُونَ. Oh my God, disbelievers are never successful. تِلْكَ الدَّارُ الْآخِرَةِ. That is the home of the hereafter. نَجْعَلُهَا لِلَّذِينَ لَا يُرِيدُونَ عُلُوًا فِي الْأَرْضِ وَلَا فَسَادًا. That home of the hereafter, we have made that for people who don't what? Who don't intend to be arrogant in the land. عُلُوًا فِي الْأَرْضِ وَلَا فَسَادًا. Don't want to cause corruption. People want to have minus. Like, my opinion has to be followed. I am the owner of this house, so my, right? I am the leader of this group, so you have to follow me. عُلُوًا, they want to be, powerful. They want to show off. They want to have their name mentioned, right? Mention this written by somebody, right? Mention my name. My name should come. Whoever desires for ulu, arrogance and high position in this dunya and corruption, they will not. That's hereafter is not for them. وَالْعَاقِبَةُ لِلْمُتَّقِينَ. And the ultimate outcome is for the righteous people. مَنْ جَاءَ بِالْحَسَنَةِ. Whoever comes with a good deed, فَلَهُ خَيْرٌ مِنْهَا. He will have much better than that. وَمَنْ جَاءَ بِالسَّيِّئَةِ. And whoever comes with a bad deed, فَلَا يُجْزَى الَّذِينَ عَمِلُوا السَّيِّئَاتِ إِلَّا مَا كَانُوا يَعْمَلُونَ. Then people are only punished for the bad deeds that they have done. For the good deeds, Allah will give multiple rewards, multiply it, but for evil, Allah will give exactly what you did. إِنَّ الَّذِي فَرَضَ عَلَيْكَ الْقُرْآنَ. Verily the one who made the Quran incumbent on you, mandatory on you, لَرَادُّكَ إِلَى مَعَادٍ. For sure He will bring you back. This is Allah speaking to the Prophet ﷺ. Ya Rasulullah, don't worry. Don't worry. You're leaving Mecca today, and I promise you will come back. Imagine the Prophet is leaving, right? He's seeing Kaaba. He's making this dua. People are taking me. He makes his dua. Oh Kaaba, I love you so much. And if people did not, remove me, I would have never left you. Right? These kind of words he's saying, and Allah is revealing this ayat saying, verily the one who made Quran incumbent on you, He will bring you back victorious, back to Kaaba, right? Back to Mecca. Don't worry. إلى معاد, to your home. قل ربي أعلم من جاء بالهدى ومن هو في ضلال مبين. Say, my Lord knows best with regards to who is on guidance and who is on clear error. وما كنت ترجو أن يلقى إليك الكتاب. And you never thought that the book would be sent to you إلا رحمة من ربك, but only as a mercy from your Lord. فلا تكونن ظهيرا للكافرين. Don't be a helper to the disbelievers. ولا يصدنك عن آيات الله. And let them not turn you away from the signs of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. بعد إذ أنزلت إليك, after it has come to you. وَادْعُ إِلَى رَبِّكَ. So call your Rabb. وَلَا تَكُونَنَّ مِنَ الْمُشْرِكِينَ. And don't be among the polytheists, the one who associate partners with Allah. وَلَا تَدْعُ مَعَ اللَّهِ إِلَهًا آخَرَ. And do not call for gods besides Allah. لَا إِلَهَ إِلَّا هُ. There is no one worthy of worship except Him. كُلُّ شَيْءٍ هَالِكٍ. Every single thing is going to come to an end. كُلُّ شَيْءٍ هَالِكٍ إِلَّا وَجْهَهُ. The only thing that will be left will be the countenance, the face of Allah. So remember that وَالْبَاقِيَاتُ الصَّالِحَاتِ. The righteous, few righteous good deeds is going to be better for you as a provision in the hereafter. So كُلُّ شَيْءٍ هَالِكٌ إِلَّا وَجْهَهُ. Everything is bound to perish except the countenance, the face of Allah. لَهُ الْحُكْمُ وَإِلَيْهِ تُرْجَعُونَ. On Him is the final decision, and you all are going to be returned to Him. إِنَّا لِلَّهِ وَإِنَّا إِلَيْهِ رَاجِعُونَ. So at the end, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says the victory is only to those who obey Him. Right? That's the main summary. The entire surah, victory only comes to those who obey Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and not to the ones who disobey Him. Okay, that brings us to the end of today's lesson. Alhamdulillah. So just a reminder that tomorrow we will be having class. Okay, we'll have class every single day so we will have class for another 11 more classes. I think we should be done. Yeah, about 11 more classes, inshallah. So straight till the end, inshallah. Okay, so end with the dua. اللهم لك الحمد على ما أوليت، ولك الشكر على ما أعطيت، ولك الشكر على نعمة أنعمت بها علينا في قديم أو حديث أو خاصة أو عامة أو سر أو علانية. اللهم لك الحمد بالإيمان، ولك الحمد بالقرآن، ولك الحمد بالأهل والمال والمعافاة. اللهم لك الحمد حمدا كثيرا طيبا مباركا فيه. اللهم لا أحصي ثناء عليك أنت كما أثنيت على نفسك. اللهم أعنا على ذكرك وشكرك وحسن عبادتك. ربنا آتنا في الدنيا حسنة وفي الآخرة حسنة وقنا عذاب النار. اللهم اجعل القرآن لنا في الدنيا قرينا، وفي القبر مؤنسا، وعلى الصراط نورا، وفي القيامة شفيعا، وإلى الجنة رفيقا، ومن النار سترا وحجابا. اللهم إنا نسألك من خير كله عاجله وآجله ما علمنا منه وما لم نعلم، ونعوذ بك من شر كله عاجله وآجله ما علمنا منه وما لم نعلم. ربنا هب لنا من أزواجنا وذرياتنا قرة أعين واجعلنا للمتقين إماما. سبحان ربك رب العزة عما يصفون، والسلام على المرسلين، والحمد لله رب العالمين. جزاكم الله خيرا. See you guys tomorrow, and don't forget to get that ice cap today, inshallah. Okay. Okay, so sorry guys. Sorry. Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.